Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. How's it going today, chat? How is it going? I hope you are all well. I am. You can commence making fun of me. I am wearing a Harry Potter sweater for Christmas. Here we go. See? Look at this. Apparently, I'm a Ravenclaw or something. I don't know what that even means in general. I know there's some of you out in the chat who are Harry Potter nerds who would understand what it means to be a Ravenclaw or something. Before you answer me on that, before you like send back, oh, that means this. I have something to say to you. Evaluate your life choices. That's it. And with that, you don't actually have to tell me anything about Harry Potter, but evaluate your life choices. So there you go. Whew. Like I had to wear this sweater because my 40K sweaters are both dirty. But yeah, so today was one of the last acts of things I would do as a 30-something. My kids had their Christmas day at the church. They do church activities like every week or whatever. And today was a Christmas day, and the parents were invited, so I had to go. And one of the things that I had to do was play this game with one of my sons, and it was called Across the Creek. I don't know if any of you are familiar. I mean, who knows, right? This is a Minnesota church. I don't know how popular this game is, but long story short, you have a space, like a gym space, or in this case, a basement room with a not very high ceiling. And you have two ropes, and they stretch these ropes out across the room, end to end. And the ropes are given distance apart, and everybody has to run up and jump across the gap. The gap is the creek, right? Cross the creek. Well, it suddenly all makes sense. So you have to jump across the ropes without touching the space in between. And there's like a line of people, and they go and they jump over this. And they're running, and they're like, oh, yeah, the parents have to join in. I'm like, I don't want to do anything because I'm ancient. I don't want to jump in. But of course, you do what you have to do as a dad. So I joined my son, and we run up, and we're jumping over these ropes. And then, each time that everybody goes through on the next cycle, they make the ropes go farther and farther away. And so people fall off as they fail the task of jumping across the ropes. So we do this a couple cycles, and we stop. Whereas I am in the last group. There are 3 people left, one other dad and then one kid. And the kid really should be thrown out of the window because don't ever stand in the dad's way. But they didn't let us go anymore. That was just it. They determined that no one should be jumping. Well, they were right, ultimately, because my heel hurts so much from jumping over this stupid rope and landing on the ground that I've been just hobbling around like an invalid for the past couple hours. Thank you for that. I needed it. It was helpful. So anyway, that was tonight. But yes, it will be my birthday in 48 minutes. In 48 minutes, I will be 40 years old, which is basically dead from as far as I can tell. And I'm okay with that. It's been a good life. It's been wonderful, but the way the accelerated sort of progression of aging, where you go from like birth, and then you go up to like 18, and then you're like, oh, I'm 20, oh, I'm 30, straight up the cliff, or maybe it's down, right? Maybe it's actually down from there. I figured by the time I'm 42, I'll be catheterized in a hospital bed, eating pudding and being happy about it, not remembering my name. I mean, that's just from my life experience. But other people have aged more gracefully, obviously, but that's just the progression of things. As I think about, that I think it was 6 years ago. It'll be 5.5 years ago. I was running a marathon, and now I can barely like run to Arby's or whatever to get a sandwich, which is probably why I can't run a marathon, is because instead I exchanged running a marathon to running to Arby's. But so I guess I have an excuse for my decrepification, and it is garbage store roast beef. But anyway, I can only imagine I'll be dead immediately. But that being said, it is still my birthday. I do intend to celebrate it with you guys to kind of start. And we have just some miscellaneous topics tonight. We have some miscellaneous topics tonight. I hope you'll enjoy them. We've got I'm gonna take a peek at a video in regards to the Kyle Kareth and Chad Reed situation. It's very short. It's like a 1 minute long video, and it's shocking to me what can happen in that 1 minute. We're going to talk about a continued campaign of lunacy against a friend of mine by the name of Vic Mignogna. We'll talk briefly about what's been going on in his world with the never-ending cancellation. I'm trying to think how to categorize this. There's some word for it where you have, I'm trying to think of the phenomenon, but you either have something be successful or not successful, or else it gets caught in this limbo place, and then it just drags on for eternity type thing. I don't think this is the appropriate way to word this, but I'll tell the story this way anyway. I had a friend, well, they're friends of my parents, and they went to a casino and did a slot machine, right? It was either them or their dad. I think it was them. Went to the casino and did the slot machine, and they they pull the thing, and it was back before the slots were digital, when they still had analog slots. All right. And it comes back and it's like ching 7, ching 7, and then 7, and then it goes past the 7, but not all the way, and it's stuck dangling between 7 and the next thing. And like the sirens going off, because this is the jackpot, right? And coins are like pumping out, but kind of slow, and an attendant has to come over. To help. And things just, it's just pumping out these quarters. The attendant looks at it and eventually hits it, right? They hit the slot machine, and it cycles down to the next thing, and the payout stops at that point. And they got to take whatever came out, but it wasn't like the jackpot amount, and it was this other thing. But there was this weird space in between where the machine was just going to keep sort of sputtering and spitting out until something happened, until it was over. And that's probably a bad analogy for it, but it's what keeps coming to mind about what's going on with Vic. They attacked Vic back in 2019. They tried to cancel him, to remove all traces of his existence from the earth, remove him from any job he's ever had, prevent him from having any job he would have in the future. They tried that. They failed. They failed to successfully accomplish that because it turns out when you build up a bunch of goodwill with people, they will oftentimes come in and say, hey, wait a minute. And a lot of people did that for Vic. They kept showing up. A couple conventions stuck by him and said, no, he can come here. And then a bunch of people showed up at those conventions to say, we still like you. We still like you. We don't think much of this thing that happened. And then there are people who were online talking about him. And there's still people to this day that vehemently defend him. But because of that, in a weird way, it's like the Band-Aid is never ripped off, right? It's never just over. And that to be clear, I think that's a better thing than the alternative. I think that's better than the cancellation being successful and complete, which is the goal for these people. But instead, they're now stuck in this perpetual madness, right? They never got cleansed of their madness, and many of them became hangers on to this idea that they could defeat and destroy this person. So since they've done that, they will now sit and forever be in this hanging 7 limbo state, just throwing out barbs here and there wherever they can. And that's still going on to this day, including from some people who really got a nice boost from Vic, who've come out now out of nowhere. And I say out of nowhere as a complete joke, because it's never out of nowhere. This stuff doesn't bubble up out of nowhere. Where this stuff bubbles up is in the minds of people and in these sort of conspiracy circles behind the scene, these little communications. Hey, we need to say something about X because profit. Like it doesn't actually make any sense at this point why people are still getting together and going after this person, other than some sort of personal vindication they feel at the expense of him. And so we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. And then the other major topic that I have is Critical K. Critical K was a drama YouTuber, what some people would call a T-tuber. A T-tuber in relation, and I guess tangentially, we should probably talk a little bit. I wasn't even thinking about this when I did it, but we should probably talk about the big update in the Sophie Long case. And that may require a separate video for me to do, but that's okay. There's a big update in the Sophie Long case. But there was this T-tuber. And if you don't understand what T on YouTube is, what like a T channel is, good. Keep that way. Never try to understand these people. They're broken on the inside. They're broken on the inside. But it's something in regards to a perpetual fueling of drama or spilling the tea. Okay. And so it's if you picture like old women gossiping at a bridge club, that's what the T-tubers are, but you don't have to be as old, and no one has to ever figure out what bridge even is, which God willing, I will never learn what bridge is because I don't want to know. But again, it's something where old ladies go for their conversations, I guess. But that's what T-tubes sounds vaguely sexual, and I'm repulsed by that. But that's what these T-tubers are. They care about the tea, the gossip, and that's it. Like that's the focus of the channels, and so they'll do this. Well, there's one former, I guess, T-tuber or gossip channel called Critical K. Now, Critical K, I only know about this person because Critical K has some level of involvement with the doxing and harassment of a friend of mine by the name of Kiwi Farms Ken Jennings, who I've talked about recently on the show. You also will find him in the chat. He's one of my moderators, Ken's Counseling Couch. But it was involved in the doxing, harassment, and of course, forced termination from employment, because that's what these people live to do. They live to destroy something someone else has done, no matter the size of that thing. It's like a person, like, you know, when you have that kid at the end of the day at the beach, and you've got your like little toddler at the beach, and everybody's left. And there's these like sand castles or mounds or anything that anybody has constructed on the beach, and they're gone. Like everybody's gone. But a toddler goes up to every structure that they can find in their vicinity and just demolishes it, right? Like they trudge through it, they dump water on it, they laugh at it, they beat it with a stick, just stomp on it or kick it, laughing and screaming the whole way. That's what these people are, except instead of like leftover sand structures, they're they're destroying lives and careers and doing it gleefully because it gives them some level of power over someone else. And they get into that. They want that. They get that into their bodies, and that becomes what they need to do. This is similar to what has happened to Vic Mignogna, but on a different sort of level. See, with the Vic Mignogna thing, there are people who feel in some way that Vic has wronged them. Whereas with T-tubers, not all T-tubers, but this sort of culture of drama, tea, and destruction is built on the idea that they will destroy someone, not who has necessarily done something to them, that they're not somehow impacted by this, but they're just appalled from a distance. And so therefore they engage into people that they don't know, who've never heard of them in a lot of ways. And that's what happened to Kiwi Farms' Ken Jennings. He was talking about the Sophie Long case, and some people decided that he was not allowed, he was not privileged to discuss this case because the nature of his opinions were something that they disagreed with. So logically, what you do when you disagree with someone is not raise those disagreements in a type of discourse to try and learn and grow and convince or anything like that. But logically, what you do is you contact the person's employer and lie about what they did to try and get them removed from society. Because we have an addiction to removing people from society. I don't know what happened with this, but that is the pervasive similarity of the current generation of people. Whatever that, and I don't mean generation as an age group. So I just mean the current social zeitgeist that's out there has this obsession with removal. We don't like this person's thing, they've got to go. It's like, well, how about you, if you don't like that person, you just don't engage them or you rebut them. Those are the two options. You just rebut or ignore. But now it's rebut, ignore, and those kind of become the secondary and tertiary ideas to destroy. Just destroy. Get rid of the person. Because if you get rid of the person, then their uncomfortable opinion goes with you. So anyway, we'll be talking a little bit about a big update in the Sophie Long case, along with Critical K's lawsuit. And this is kind of the ultimate thing. This Critical K person is being sued, not because of the lawsuit, or not because of the Sophie Long case, not having anything to do with Ken Jennings, but they're sued for a separate thing in which they, as a T-tuber, decided that they would cancel someone. And in particular, the person they were canceling was the mother of a deceased young man, Ray Andracchiano, I think is how you say the name. But Ray is the mother. I don't remember the deceased young man's name, but there's some conflict over whether or not this young man took his own life or was murdered. The mother believes that the young man was murdered. Other people, and she's a psychiatrist or something like that. It'll be cleared up in the documents, but she's like a psychiatrist or something. And this T-tuber made some accusations about her, in dramatically talking about the death of this person's adult child, suggesting things like the mother contributed to the suicide, for example, and then some other things about that. And in their quest to destroy this person that they're not involved with, they've said some things. Some of those things have potentially risen to the level of legal actionability. Well, turns out this person lawyered up and is suing them over the direct harm being caused by their statements. And they're procedurally right now winning. And so it's a really interesting story. And so I want to walk you through kind of what was happening with this motion to dismiss, the response to the motion to dismiss, the reply to the response, and then the order from the court. Because we've talked a little bit about defamation cases out here, and some people wonder if you can even bring a defamation case in the current day, because on the internet, it's really, really easy to defame people, and it's really, really hard to sue the defamers. And so we've seen defamation lawsuits that have not been successful and have had problems. And people wonder, can you even do it? How do you do it? What does it look like? And well, it turns out you actually can. And so we're going to take a peek at it and show that. And all the while, there will be some laughs and some maybe, or maybe just some story time, or maybe rants or whatever. And we'll get through as much as we get through, because it's my birthday stream and we'll get where we get. One last thing before we get started, and we'll start with this Kyle Kareth and Chad Reed related video, is as it is my birthday, I will be celebrating mildly on stream with you guys. All right. I'm going to celebrate in two ways. One way you can guess, it involves this glass, this Glencairn glass with this beautiful Glencairn glass with the Rekieta Law logo inscribed on it. No, I don't sell them. I would love to. If anyone knows a vendor who can make these and ship them and would be willing to partner with me to do something like this, I mean, we'd probably update the logo a little bit, maybe clean it up. But to do something like this, even if it's not a Glencairn, but another whiskey glass, and would be happy to do on-demand orders for that. I don't know the costs or anything, but I would love to do that. And if they only do bulk orders, I'm going to be at Anime Matsuri next year, and it might be really fun to have a big bulk order of these things that people could buy at the convention or something like that. But if anybody knows a vendor, please have them reach out to me. I would love to talk to him about that. But we've got a special celebration drink that's going to happen. Two of them, actually. And with that, I will go into this just a little bit. Let's see. A guy named Mark sent me a couple very special things. He sent me 3 things. I showed this on the stream the other day. This is 2017 Mikter's Toasted Barrel Rye. Okay. So he sent me this fine bottle of whiskey. I have not opened it yet, and I don't think I'm going to open this one tonight. But it's a very nice bottle. He describes it. He says it's the best one of the 3 releases they've done of that type of rye. And so I am saving that for a little bit. But he sent me 2 other things. He sent me 2 2-ounce samples of very, very expensive whiskey. And so that's what I'm drinking tonight for my birthday. We've got this 2019 Mikter's 20-year rye. All right. Or bourbon, sorry. And let me read what he said about it. He said, highly sought after Mikter's 20-year bourbon, 114.2 proof. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the toasted rye versus this. Don't fall in love with this one. As a bottle of this, a full-size bottle of this is $5,500. So that's an expensive bottle of liquor. All right. So that's what this is. So I'm going to try this out. And then the other sample, I've never had a whiskey that costs anywhere near that. So that'll be fun to try. The other one is this Booker's Rye. This is the 2016 Whiskey of the Year. This rye is fantastic. He says 136.2 proof. He says, don't fall too much in love with this either, as a bottle will set you back at least $2,500 for a full-size bottle. So this is going to be, I hold in my hand hundreds of dollars of whiskey that we're going to try. So that's how I'll be celebrating as we get towards birthday time in one way. Now let me tell you about the other way. And a huge thank you, by the way, to Mark for sharing with me this little bit of his collection there. That is exciting. I'm actually worked up, worked up and anxious for it. The other way is something that I talked about on Locals. I posted a picture. That's ricadalaw.locals.com. If you are not following me you can follow on Locals for free, and you get just some additional sort of personalized content on there. And then if you choose to join Locals, you can at a paid level, you can. And then that allows you to comment. You get access to the Discord, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This isn't a Locals ad unless you want it to be. But just going to Locals for two main things is important. One, you get a little bit of extra content for free over on Locals, just pictures and personal notes and stuff like that I'll post. The other thing that you get is notifications that always work. Whenever I'm going to do a stream, that link that goes out on Twitter and everywhere, it goes up on Locals first. I actually draft it on Locals and then copy it out to the other platforms. And the notifications for Locals are from what I can tell, extremely good. When I make a post, you will get a notification. That's how it goes. So if you get mad at how YouTube doesn't deliver the notifications, Locals is a way to remedy that, and it's completely free to you. But yeah, there's that. So the notifications and a little bit of extra free content. But I posted about these the other day. This is a co-invention my wife and I had. And I called them Wonder Witches, which is a really gay name, but it's the only thing I can think of. It is this. It's 2 Ritz crackers, a Reese's peanut butter cup, dipped in Baker's chocolate. And then you dip this in milk. If you're a true connoisseur of delight, you do that. And this was, if you guys saw that movie Frailty, right, where Matthew McConaughey is telling about his dad, Billy Bob Thornton. Billy Bob Thornton is the dad of 2 boys in Frailty, and Billy Bob Thornton gets a vision from God. A vision from God that he is to find and exterminate demons that look like humans. He would be given the tools to do it, right? One of them was an axe named Otis, and then he had some gloves, some like welding gloves or whatever, and then he had a pipe, and those are the holy weapons. And then when he laid hands on the person, he would see their sins. Or not Billy Bob Thornton, Bill Paxton. Why did I say Billy Bob? Oh my God. Bill Paxton. Oh. Bill Paxton. Sorry. Look, I know who it is. My brain just shut off the name. Bill Paxton. Anyway, so one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when he finds the axe, because it's like you'll know it when you see it. And there's this like beam of light just shining on this axe, and it's this beautiful shot that they got of this event anyway. But it was perfect for the movie. But anyway, so he gets delivered these lists of people that are demons that they have to abduct and kill, right? And that's kind of how I got the inspiration for this. You can't really see it on here as much, but if you could do this at home. If you take a Ritz cracker and a peanut butter cup and you look towards the edge, and this is what happened to me. I happened to have a Ritz cracker and a peanut butter cup just incidentally years and years ago. And you look towards the edge, you'll note that the ridges on the Ritz cracker line up exactly with the Reese's peanut butter cup. And I had this revelation that God wanted these things to be together. I mean, they're exact. Like, not only does it fit inside, the ridges actually match as you go around. It blew my mind. And so that was a determination. That was a determination. So I put the Ritz crackers with the peanut butter cup. We did some severe taste testing of this one Ritz cracker. Found out 2 Ritz crackers is better. And then my wife added the chocolate dip. And she used to cover the whole thing in chocolate. That was too much. That was too much. Just the half chocolate dip is perfect. So then you take one of these suckers and you dunk it in milk, right? Because you got to dunk things in milk. Now, your first bite is going to be pretty good. The second bite's better. I'll tell you why. Oh, I look like an OnlyFans thought. Sorry, big boy. Okay. The second dip. This is lactose-free milk. Don't worry. The second dip is where the milk penetrates into the peanut butter of the peanut butter cup. Okay, that's the trick. First you got to break the outer shell, and then you got to dunk that thing back in there and get the milk inside the peanut butter cup. Oh God. So good. So then, like, the milk is like soaked in there. See that? And because it's got this chocolate on the shelf, it's not going anywhere. It's not like an Oreo. It's going to turn all floppy and break off and drop into the milk. And you'll be like, no, that doesn't happen. It's got this chocolate shell. It's impenetrable. Unless your teeth do it. Oh my God. Yep. Do this. Whole milk. Yes. Whole milk only. Looks gross. Incorrect. Pure delight. Okay. I get these once a year. They're so good. So anyway, those are the 2 ways I'll be celebrating tonight. Oh my goodness. It's the saltiness of the cracker with the chocolate on the peanut butter and the chocolate on the outside. Magnifique. And if you say things French, it makes it extra gay. All right. We need to hit a couple of these super chats and then pop into our first story of the night. And then we'll get into Vic, and then we'll get into Critical K. Uncle Bear says, happy birthday to a great man, a smart man, a man that could see a Fed even as he was driving home in the dead of night. Happy birthday to Terry A. Davis. He is remembered dearly. Well, to be fair to, not to mitigate Terry's accomplishments, but there's something about Feds that help you see them at night, especially while driving. But I'll let you guys figure out what exactly that is. Wolfgang Deo says, Wendover Productions. They did an interesting video on how airlines quietly became their own banks and Fed, producing their own currency through points. Yes, there are more points than US dollars in the economy, more airline points, I believe. But yeah, very, very interesting. I haven't seen the documentary. The subject itself is interesting. And I may talk a little bit about the Potter trial today because some of the stuff that happened today was a little bit irritating. Wolfgang also says, I refuse the coup vax because it is safer to not have it when I am forcefully jabbed against my will by the government. So there you go. Again, I'm not making any discussions or proclamations about the effectiveness of a vaccine. I will talk about mandates. Mandates, vaccine or otherwise, are the tools of the devil, and the devil is the state. Make no mistake, Satan does not ever have to be a man because the state has fulfilled the role of whatever your Satan may be. And the state has done so with glee and joy. The state is the one that will take your liberty, will take your property, and you will happily write them a check for the mere privilege of living within the confines and jurisdiction of the state that will then rule over you. It is the persistently most oppressive form of anything that exists, because all power that should be held by the people is derived through the state in the modern era, not derived appropriately from the people and lent to the state as our founders envisioned. But even in the freest countries on earth, the state has supplanted God, has supplanted labor, has supplanted the goodwill of man, the collective effort of society. The state now is supposed to represent and represents itself as all of those things, which means that none of those things are necessary values for people anymore because the state represents that. Even when you say people voluntarily living in a community, working together, sharing things, growing things, and then sharing those, like growing their own food and sharing that, or bartering with each other. That was something that was done as sort of a proto-societal foundation. And the state has now supplanted that. The state has taken that over, this basic thing. And we act like there could be no transactions without the state. That any use of this on a voluntary basis is the same thing as communism. It's like, well, you're sharing, therefore it's communism. No. Communism is not sharing. Socialism is not sharing. Socialism and communism are doing your share, but your share is assigned to you by a supreme authority in the state. And it must be, because otherwise it won't work, and it must be enforced. But they've perverted the idea of communal work, of communal living. The thing that actually, again, built civilizations up was this idea that if people combined work, they were greater than the sum of their parts. They could delegate to the more effective people tasks that those people were more effective at, and get greater production than if everybody was doing everything on their own. They can more effectively and economically utilize space, resources, and produce greater yields, and then benefit from the time that they saved from having to do everything on their own. That did not come from government. That's what ended up forming government. But then government took over. The state took over that sort of organic distribution, and now is on a path towards mandating that distribution. Mandate. You must do. State should never be able to tell people what to do. And yes, I mean that in the sense of, with positive action. The state should never compel someone to anything, in my opinion. That's me. I know people don't like that. Yes, I'm talking about helmets. Yes, I'm talking about seat belts. Yes, I'm talking about all those things that the government says you have to do this thing. Not you cannot do this thing. That's different. That's restriction. That's not a mandate. But you have to do this thing. That is compelled action that I might not have otherwise taken. And I don't care how much safety it is for me. Life is risk. And in risk, we find reward. We also find peril. But I get to take those risks. I get to choose those paths. And state compelling is the thing that keeps you away from that. And that is why I am so opposed to vaccine mandates. It's not about the vaccine. It's the principle behind the government saying, you must do this thing. You must do this thing. And I will simply say, oh, must I? Oh, must I? No. No, I must not. Because the other person who I'm being compelled to protect in a sane and ordered world would have the option to never interact with me at all by their choice, because I'm not going to their house and they can keep me out of their property. But in the public square, they have no right to exclude me because I was never going to exclude them. Anyway, sorry, little mini rant there. Squizgar says, has everyone stocked up on popcorn to watch Minneapolis burn down when Kim Potter is acquitted? We'll see, man. Today was interesting in a couple ways. It was the best day for the prosecution. The prosecution will likely rest at the beginning of the day tomorrow, and probably not call any more witnesses. But there were some interesting things that happened. Interesting rulings by the judge, and by interesting, I mean borderline insane. The big one, if you didn't have a chance to watch earlier today, and I would fully understand if you're not able to watch. I am streaming a whole lot, and people have jobs and all of that stuff. So let me catch you up on one of the most important things that happened. It was this moment where let me do this. I should definitely do this, because as always happens, someone tried to call me out, right? Here we go. So this interesting moment happens where the expert witness for the state, this little weaselly guy named Stoughton, something like that, who you may remember from the Derek Chauvin trial as the use of force expert there. He's the same use of force expert for the state here. They liked his work in Chauvin, of course, so they bring him back on to do this case. Now, he has this moment where he's testifying about the use of force, both deadly and non-deadly, for Kim Potter in this in the shooting of Daunte Wright. And he says that Kim Potter was not able to use deadly force, that it was not justified. Well, actually, he didn't say it wasn't justified. He said it was inappropriate, which is not a legal standard at all. Okay. So he says that she's not privileged to use that. He similarly suggests that she wasn't even privileged to use a taser, that non-lethal force was not justified. And the state needs this testimony, needs the person to say that the non-lethal force is not justified, because if the non-lethal force is justified, then the mistake negates the criminal elements alone. Like that, if the jury determines that a mistake was made, then she can't manifest the requisite state of mind for recklessness. So they're not going to get to the elements of the crime without finding that the taser could not be used. The problem with this is that the taser is, of course, appropriate force to effect arrest, but he's testified otherwise. Part of his reasoning was that they had determined the name and location of Daunte Wright, that they knew it was Daunte Wright, and they had an address. And so what he says is that Daunte Wright, if he fled, could simply be apprehended happily at some later time. Okay? He says this. Once that's done, the defense moves the court. They ask for a recess of the jury, and they move the court to allow them to introduce evidence of something we haven't really heard before, but an allegedly 1-inch thick file of all the times Daunte Wright has fled the police, which is insane if you think about it, because we've only ever heard, oh, there's this outstanding warrant. There's this, alleged shooting of a 16-year-old. There's this alleged robbery back in 2019. There's this gun charge for the warrant. There's this order for protection, which I believe is related to that 2019 robbery. But either way, we've heard about that. But apparently he has been attempted to be arrested so many times that there's a 1-inch thick physical file on all of those things. And so They said, we want to ask questions about this because the defense or the state's witness, the state's expert on the state's direct examination opened the door to this by representing to the jury that he could simply be apprehended later. And we have a whole thing, a whole big file of this that says that no, he can't. And he is misrepresenting the factual reality. The judge would go to deny this motion, which is batshit insane. It's batshit insane. He made this representation. And so when I was talking about how he did that, when he gets back on the stand, the judge doesn't allow it. Earl Grey tries to get him to open the door again on cross-examination, asking some questions. And Earl Grey says, well, you said that he could run away, that if he ran away, they would just be able to apprehend him later. Didn't you? And he says, no, I didn't say that. So I said, yes, you did. Yes, you did, you fucking liar. Of course he did. It was, of course he said it. That was the whole point of all the motion practice that happened afterwards. This guy in the chat then, Atheist for the Cause was his name, said that I was misrepresenting what the little Weasley guy said. And he said, I hope he sues you because you said that he lied. He did lie. He lied. He lied on cross-examination to Earl Grey, to the court. The state's witness lied because they realized that they royally fucked up with that. And thank goodness someone did the legwork and clipped this out, clipped this from the testimony. So now I don't have to do anything other than play the clip.
Warrant. So by attempting to flee the way he did, he was presenting a threat of escape.
And what about the possibility of apprehending him later? Are you factoring that into your decision today?
Not only did he lie, I mean, they asked him specifically about this point.
Opinion today.
Yes. So when the threat being presented is the threat of escape, it is important to note that we're talking about the threat of escaping custody right now.
Why he didn't mention the
there are
girlfriend in the car and the restraining order. This doesn't solve that problem.
Benefits or officer safety benefits to not arresting someone immediately to arresting them later. Of course, you have to know who they are and have some idea of where to find them. In this case, the officer.
He's already doing it, but it gets way worse. Here, listen.
Had information about who Mr. Wright was, who his brother was, their various addresses,
not who the girl
contact
was.
information.
That's the problem.
So although he
With
did
the order of
present
protection,
imminent threat of
that could have
escape,
been the person in the car.
it certainly factors into the analysis that he was unlikely to avoid future apprehension. In a situation like that.
Let him go.
Officers
Let him go. That's it.
He was, listen to that. He's unlikely to, I know we're talking, so it sometimes is hard to hear. That's why I'm clarifying. He is unlikely to avoid future apprehension. He's representing to the chat, right? To the jury. He is representing to them that Daunte Wright is unlikely to avoid future apprehension. It gets worse, but here, let's go back just so we get that 5 seconds in.
Avoid future apprehension. Unlikely to avoid future apprehension. In a situation like that,
let him go.
Officers
let him go.
It gets worse.
Either go and get him on the outstanding warrant or have new warrants.
Tens to hundreds of thousands of outstanding warrants that are in excess of months of time.
What?
So there you go. There you go. They can simply just go get him. He's unlikely to evade future apprehension. And yet, on cross-examination, he said, I didn't say that. He said that he did not say that. And he clearly did. Anyway, to Atheists for the Cause, with all the love and respect I can muster, as a happy man on my birthday, and on the nighttime show, fuck off, you piece of garbage. Don't accuse me of lying. That motherfucker lied. That guy lied. That guy lied. Don't act like I misrepresented or misinterpreted him because he lied. That guy lied. I didn't do that. I'm not asking him questions. I'm pointing out what he said. And then when confronted on cross, he denied it. He denied saying the thing that he had just said. So, God, these people. That was the same guy that argued that the car might not have been in park when it was clearly in park. He was in the chat, basically saying that. C. Goody just laid it out. He says, quote, "That's the same fucktard that argued about automatic cars in park moving forward. He's a disingenuous dumbass." Yes, he did. He argued that the car that Dante Wright was in a moving vehicle or whatever when the car was in park. Nonsensical arguments. And I apologize for what's about to happen. Steve C says, so what does Earl do in that case? He lied and he knows it. Apparently, they are filing a motion for mistrial. It's not going to be granted, but they'll preserve the issue on appeal. And on appeal is where you would have to fight that out if she is indeed convicted. Hopefully, it'll be mooted. And I say hopefully because at this point, the state hasn't proven their case. The state brought in a weasel to lie. They paid a liar to lie. That's what they did. I don't care if you intentionally murder someone. If the state pays an expert witness to lie on the stand, and then the state misrepresents what the witness said, by the way, no, he didn't say that. He didn't do that. No. But if the state is willing to pay someone to lie to put you in prison, fuck the state. The state can eat shit. It can get wrecked. It bleeds us by taxation. It requires us to pay rent on property that we own. Fuck the state. The state can get these nuts all up in their mouth, Earl Grey style. Fuck them. The state can eat shit, and they can doubly eat shit in this case. You know, I don't care if Kim Potter ultimately is guilty or innocent. If she's guilty, put her in jail. Except now, I have to care. I have to care now because the state has employed a liar to try to take away the liberty of its citizenry. Not only its citizenry, of its own agent. Its own agent. She did 26 years in service to the noble government of Minnesota. Repaid by the state paying someone to try and put her in jail dishonestly. Uh-oh. It's birthday time. I am 40. I am officially 40. Thank you to the chat, by the way. You guys are great. I will now proceed to read every single happy birthday message. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Old man Mercada. Happy birthday. 40 dude. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. We got to wash this down. Then I've got a little cleansing drink. And then I'm going to drink a cheaper whiskey. And then we're going to get to the good whiskey. We're in for it, boys and girls. Oh, I had a fun thing tonight. I'll tell you about too. Don't mix milk and whiskey, by the way. You have to have something to separate that out. So, I always wonder when I'll end up running into people who have watched the show, because I live in a small town, and I really don't run into, like, there are people I know who know what I do, right? But I tend to not run into people in the wild who know what I do. And today, I was at church with my kids, like I said, and one of the other dads whom I may have met. I'm really bad with names, and if you're watching right now, it's not personal, but in any case, if we have met, we've not really talked much before. But he said hi tonight, and he said, I watch your show from time to time, especially with the Rittenhouse and now the Kim Potter trials. It was cool. It was fun to run into somebody who organically watched the show rather than someone I know who I've talked to about it with. So anyway, that was fun. Super nice guy. We had a nice little conversation. Not too long, obviously. We were both managing children. All right. I'm going to start off with this Hill Rock bourbon. Just a little bit of a mouth and palate cleanser. If you've never swished bourbon in your mouth, I would recommend it. I would strongly recommend it. Okay. Let me read a couple more chats. I'll finish this. We'll keep going. Frederick Little says, hey, Nick, it's midnight here in Western New York, so happy birthday. Hope you have a great birthday. I'm really glad to be subscribed to your channel. Keep up the great content. Hey, thanks, Frederick. I appreciate that. Wolfgang Deo says, if we simp, is it better if ASMR Judge or Madonna? The Judge is only a little bit older than Madonna. Go for her. You don't want, like... There came a time in Madonna's life where she stood up and her uterus just fell out. Don't be Madonna. Don't be Madonna. And don't simp. Don't simp for Madonna. Don't do it. Don't do that. It's like one day you go to a bar and you go up to the front of the bar, and you go to sit down on the stool and you hit the floor and your name is Madonna. Ugh. Don't do that. Okay. Slagla says, happy birthday, Nick. Put this $20 in the Botox fund because you're starting to need it. By the way, you really do look 40. Oh, that's the nicest thing anyone said to me. Stegus says, happy birthday to Phoenix Orem. Happy birthday to Phoenix Orem and also to you, Nick, I guess. Congratulations on your recent success. Here's to an even greater success in the year to come. Phoenix would have sent a chat himself, but he's been under the weather. Godspeed. Yes, he has. And I hope and wish him a wonderfully brisk recovery. Music and Fiction says, as Kermit and Richards. Separately. Hey, Mark, time to celebrate Nikki's birthday. I don't like the guy. He creates havoc for me. Boomer of the highest order. You're going to celebrate or Binger will visit. Oh, God, no. No. Squizgar2322 says, happy birthday, nerd. and you're not in your 40s, you are in your very late 30s. No, I'm 40 now. I'm legitimately 40. I think that means I have to be in my 40s. Angel Rin says, Nick, I really need the distraction tonight, so thank you. My father just contacted me about an old family friend of ours. She's been battling mental health and was only 33 years old. She sadly took her own life. Oh, God. I am so sorry to hear that. Guys, look, there are times in your 20s and 30s that are going to suck. They're not going to be great. But the alternative is worse. The alternative is worse because you lose your opportunity to take that negative time, to take that shitty situation, to reverse it, and to impact someone else positively. And if you don't think that that you matter, you do. Like you do. You know why you matter? This isn't, and by the way, you can take this as a religious thing if you want, but don't. Wise men in the past recognized that we matter enough to respect the rights of the born merely by their birth. You are protected from a government intervention in your life by the mere fact that you are alive. And they determined that irrespective of who you are, what social class or status you come from, or whatever, that was the ultimate ideology that founded America, but really founded Western thought. Don't limit it to governments, because when you limit it to governments, you start to look at the various problems, right? You go, oh, well, America had slavery at the beginning. Sure. Yeah. Okay. But don't take that, because the principles behind it, the forward-thinking revelationists were going, no, by virtue of a man's birth, by his very existence, he is endowed with life, with liberty, with the pursuit of property and happiness, with rights that come from a creator, nature's God, whatever you call it, it doesn't matter. And if that's worth protecting, and that people have unified on this idea that that's worth protecting, then you're worth protecting and you're worth existing. That's the real tragedy of abortion. That's the real tragedy of murder. It's the real tragedy of all this stuff, is that it strips away the very basic essence of what's instilled into you by the merit of your birth. And if things are shitty now, focus on you, because that's what you can control. That's what you can change. Improve yourself. I'm not blaming you, but improve yourself, because again, that's where you can work. And let that bad time pass. But if you get stuck in a rut and you take away your opportunity to impact the world, then you're just throwing away. You're throwing away potential, and for a temporary but permanent relief. Don't do it, please. Bob Ricada, hey, Dad, says your mother said to tell you happy birthday, and what the hell is going on with that sweater? Well, this is from, was it last year? I think this is a gift from the Ty Beards family. I think it was from Ty Beard's family, but yeah, I'm apparently a Ravenclaw, so that's what's up with it. Look, it's like 40 degrees out tonight, and I didn't want to wear a jacket, so I just threw on a sweater. It was great. Zach Gutman says, happy birthday, Nick. Hey, happy birthday to you, Zach. Crumbrion says, happy birthday. Take these Mudblood Monopoly dollars. Love this Slytherin pure blood. Thank you, Crumbrion. Very much appreciated. Tracy 3 sent a Woot sticker. Just a normal bottle of mustard says, happy birthday, Nick. Cheers to many more years. Mega Mobas says, happy born day, Nick. Hope you have a good day, you old fart. After today, you begin the downfall, slippery slope into senility. May you have many more happy, healthy, and blessed born days. Cheers. Jiffy, the magic elf, says, you and your wife are geniuses for inventing Wonder Witches. I now have a new favorite way to become morbidly obese. They're so good. They're so good. Oh, man. Next, we have Matthew Vicari. Says, appreciate all your hard work on these streams. Why did the judge make it so the defense is on notice for cumulative evidence with character witnesses, but the state was allowed to call every cop and BCA agent? Yes, another baffling sort of problem. Now, but to be fair, pure character witnesses, that's what the judge was excluding. Pure character, no connection to the facts. Admittedly, no connection to the facts at all. That's who's being excluded and limited here. They're limited to 3 only character witnesses. All of the cumulative evidence aside, the state didn't have purely. The state only offered, I believe, 3 pretty much purely character witnesses. Well, no, 2, the mom and the dad, were purely character witnesses. I mean, the mom had this. Oh, she showed up on the scene later. That's not a fact witness to anything that actually happened to her son. Her son was dead by the time he got there, or she got there. And then the father, right? And they let them speak, which I think the father's testimony was wholly improper. But you know, if a judge is going to allow it, they're going to allow it. And again, I even though I believe that the shooting was justified, even though it was a mistake, I think if she had pulled the gun intentionally and fired, that she would have been justified. I don't want to see that happen, but you know, that's the reality. And it seems like Dante Wright was in many ways a pile of garbage. However, that's still parents mourning the loss of a child, and you know, that they're going to mourn the loss of a child, whether the child's good or bad. I mean, that's just how it goes. So that, you know, I do sympathize with them. You know, it's not, I shouldn't say that entirely, but him being a bad person or making a bunch of bad choices doesn't negate their emotional response to it, right? But it doesn't have any place in the testimony in this trial, because it's no facts. That's a post-trial testimony about, you know, a victim impact or whatever. That's where it's appropriate. So, you know, let's see next. Abe Eckstein says, my God, that expert lied on the stand. Can you ask a witness if he knows he's under oath? And if he lies, he's perjuring himself. You got to be very, very careful doing that, because if you do that, that could be prejudicing the jury against the witness improperly. The Cinema Queen says, happy birthday, Nick. Here's $40 for your 40th birthday, but you sent $57.14. Oh, did you do the do the YouTube math? I pray, wish, hope you have another year filled with success, happiness, and faith and health. Thank you for being you. You and your show has helped me a lot. I hope you have a great birthday today. I'm sure I will. Thank you. Ola Kyle says, F the state. You can see his lying response at 5:58:58 on the USA Today stream. Should we take a quick peek at that? Let's take a little gander. It was USA Today. Kim Potter. Streamed 7 hours ago. Let's see, 5 hours, 58 minutes, 58 seconds. Here we go. Really, this will be short, right?
I'm going to ask you some questions pertaining to your report and your testimony today. Let me get this right. What your last piece of testimony was that when the officers attempted to handcuff Mr. Wright because they had his address and name, and it was a minor violation, that they should have just let him go. Is that what you're saying?
No, that mischaracterizes my testimony and opinions.
What are you saying about it? I thought you said that they should let him go because they had his name and address. Is that what you said?
No, that's not what I said.
Okay, well then I misheard you. What, did you say they should let him go?
No, I did not say they should.
What did you say?
I said that the fact they had identified him and had his address is a relevant consideration in balancing the threat of escape or evasion.
Of what? I'm sorry.
The threat of escape or evasion.
Okay, and if he attempted to escape, what should the officers have done?
Use reasonable force to prevent the escape.
And they do that when they were trying to stop him from escaping?
Are you asking me
Yeah.
in this case? No.
They didn't. And
At an early point, I would say yes, although we didn't talk about that. But at the point of using deadly force, no. As I testified, that was excessive and unreasonable,
Right.
inappropriate, and inconsistent with generally accepted police practices.
yes, but I thought I was not talking about deadly force. I was talking about your first opinion in your report about using the taser. And your report seemed to reflect that because they would find him some other time or somebody else would get him, that they should not have tried to stop him. Is that what your report says?
It's not, no.
Okay. Well, let's go back. You started working as a police officer, what year, 2001?
Yes.
There you go. I mean, maybe the defense to his actions is that's not what his report said. That's just what he said on the stand. Maybe that's his defense. Although I have a feeling that's also what his report says, because that's what he's testifying to, is what his report says. They then go back through his history as a cop, but the doctor, yeah, we're going to talk about it in a minute. But the trick is the jury watched him. The jury watched him weasel through those answers. They saw that. So, All right, I'm pouring this this $2,500 bottle Booker's. I might save a little for Lady Rackets to try. That's like a $4 drop. Okay, again, this was a 2-ounce gift. I've poured about 1.5 ounces of that into my Glencairn glass. Glencairn glass, not glask, to try out. This is the Booker's. Here we go. Okay. This is really delicious. It's also 136 proof, right? So it's 63% alcohol. It's smooth. It does not burn going down at all. But it's similar to this Kentucky Owl Rye. It lights up your whole mouth. Anywhere it touches is activated. It's the high alcohol content. Oh, 68% alcohol. Lawyer math. Wow. At 68% alcohol, right? your eyes should be watering from breathing it in, but it's remarkably smooth. Remarkably smooth, man. That's good. I'm gonna have more of that in a minute. Whew. Nanya Business says, happy birthday. Can't celebrate you with you because I'm on call for work, but have a drink for me. Oh, I will. William Foley says, happy birthday, Nick. May you have many more. Hey, thanks. You too, buddy. Meth Bear says, oh my God, it's cold in Fargo for this Jewish California law bear. Drove from Minneapolis in a Jag and it's Ragnarok. Recommended the Jasper Hotel in downtown. WTF is Menards. Meeting my girl's family Friday. 9 siblings. Oofda. Whew. Good luck. Menards. Well, you spelled it wrong, but Menards is a hardware store with really notoriously crappy commercials throughout the 90s. This is really... So the closest I've ever had to this is, I have a bottle over there. It's this Kentucky Owl, rye. It's about $300 a bottle. It has that same effect. It's interactive. That's what I like about it. Your whole mouth is responding to what's going on inside. That's what she said. And it's just, it's phenomenal. And the high alcohol content, it's drying out your mouth as it goes. It's wild. Man. But I should be gasping and wheezing at an almost 70% alcohol. And I'm not. That's terrific. That's terrific. Again, I don't know. One, I've never seen a bottle like this. So, I've never been able to purchase that bottle of whiskey. But that being said, I don't know that I would. That's still rich for my blood, but it is very, very good. Whew. It's the Booker's 20-year rye. Okay, next. OP Dog, thanks for the donation. Thomas says Mama Ambien was not Pog today. No, she was not. Skullgar Thane says pleasant anniversary of the evacuation of the womb of the birthing parental unit day. Oh, thank you. Very PC way to say that. Andrew War Snowboard says happy 40th birthday, Boomer. I loved visiting your wonderful family yesterday and can't wait to visit again. Merry Christmas as well. Hey, you too, man. Thank you. Andrew War Snowboard surprised me by coming out yesterday to the house, and we got to hang out a little bit. Not as much as I would have liked to hang out, mainly because of the stream and all, and then the life activity going on around it. But we will hopefully be able to get together soon again. Thank you. Kyle Bogue says happy 40th from another member of the class of 2000s. I made the mistake of going to Los Angeles for my 40th birthday, but went to the Vikings game and they won. So that was good enough for me. Oh, thanks, Kyle. Thanks. Happy birthday. Thanks for the happy birthday. And glad to see a fellow Minnesotan going and shoving it down the throat of that disgusting pit of garbage, Los Angeles. Even though I don't really care about the Vikings, I'm glad that you enjoyed the game. Renee Villarreal says, happy birthday. Mine's in 4 days, so I'll join you in being old soon. Nico says, happy birthday, Nikki. As of 40, what life advice you got for people in the 20s and 30s? Your hairline is also turning 50, especially along the headphones line. Yeah, I'm going to be, it's compressed headphone hair. I'm going to be ordering some different headphones very soon. I've been looking at some nice studio headphones, but I might get some in-ear monitors rather than the over-the-ear things because I don't like how it wears this like weird like a ponytail bump in my hair. But it's always, buying equipment is always about figuring out what equipment to buy. But life advice I got for people in the 20s and 30s is, look, especially, this applies especially to men. In your 20s specifically, no one respects you. It's not you. It's your age. And it's discriminatory and it's garbage and it's fake and all of that stuff. No one respects you. They won't respect you, no matter how mature you are, no matter how smart, capable, or talented you are. They're not going to respect you largely, and you will be shafted at work, and you'll get garbage assignments and all of that stuff that you have to deal with. No, especially as a man, and this is particular to men, that your age is actually an appreciating asset. It is. As much as it may not seem like it, as you start to decrepify and turn into a lump that can barely get up in the morning without severe aches and pains all over your body. As much as that may be true, it's an appreciating asset basically everywhere else. So endure the frustrating times of being a 20s and an early 30s in particular, and let yourself marinate in life as it goes, because what comes out later is really truly great. The past couple years have just been increasingly beneficial and bountiful, not just because YouTube and stuff like that, just in general with life, with your relationship with other people, or with mine anyway, with my relationship with my wife, with my relationship with my kids as they get older, and more importantly, with my understanding that all that time that I spent in my 20s and 30s, noticing that I was not able to get past people's preconceptions about my age or whatever it was, is that as I get older, the less impact any of those other opinions have had on my life, and the more opportunities I have been able to develop through decisions cumulatively made over the course of my life. And I didn't take some specialized particular path. I mean, the path to turning your life choices into success comes in here. It doesn't come from outside, right? Your attitude and your perception changes on the inside first. And when you do that and you free yourself from your own fears and insecurities and all of that stuff, and you start to take charge of your life, like, and realizing, because this is the hard part, you've been conditioned for most of your life to be taken charge of. When you start to change that and you take charge of your own life, you'll start to see better results for yourself in various ways, either financially or just in intangible things like happiness and satisfaction. So do that. We're breaking the conditioning or whatever, like Ron Paul. But it's real though. It is real. Remember, it is real. Is real. Remember that you grow up in this system. Typically, a typical American kid grows up in this system where your life is taken charge of. You go through a public school, and then the best part is, after public school, a large number of people pay for the opportunity to have someone take charge of their life through college. And even if you don't, you tend to enter into some entry-level job position where someone's in charge of your life, and it's some asshole, right? Named like Timmer or Kyle or Kevin or something really annoying. And it's always some guy, and you know exactly what he's like, right? Because you've all worked a retail job or a restaurant job, and your manager's always some piece of garbage that's been, you know what, I worked up through the years, and now I'm a sales manager. You're like, oh God, as if they have the answer to life's questions. But you get that opportunity to sit there and suffer at their hands, right? Through their incompetence, and they control your life. But as you get older, you start to break away from that. I hope and pray that you do. Either, and you can do that within the confines and context of a job. You can do that. But a lot of times it's with you finding independence in some way, either inside or outside of work, becoming indispensable, gaining a specialty that makes you the subject matter expert on something, that makes you in charge of the information that someone else needs from you. And the start of that is where you start to change your life. It really is, in my opinion. I'm not a life coach though, so I'm not going to ever tell you how to 12 steps to success. That's not my job. I'm just telling you there is hope. There's hope, and there are better things. As for the ladies, I don't know what to tell y'all. I don't know what to tell y'all as you get older. That's not my that's not my expertise or cup of tea. And I don't know how women are supposed to live in the world at all. But what I can tell you is don't listen to other women on how to do it. Super Iron Bob says, happy birthday, you old man. Before my dad got old enough where it started getting too close to true, I'd answer the phone with, why aren't you dead yet? When he called. So, Nikki, why aren't you dead yet? But for the grace of God go I. Larry Fronchek says, I'll take a pause from these in just a minute, and we'll do the Kyle Kareth, Chad Reed thing. Larry Fronchek says, suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Phil Donahue, correct. Yeah, that's a very eloquent and excellent way to say that. Ryan Case says, you need to come down to Texas soon so we can have a drink together, have another drink on me, and here's to another great year that God has gifted you to help entertain and educate this horde of degenerates. Cheers, sir. Hey, cheers back to you, Ryan. Thank you. Thank you. Even though you made fun of me all day yesterday. Makar says, wishing you a very havoc birthday. Thank you, Makar. Andrew Callahan says, happy first middle-aged birthday, Nick. Your work is both highly entertaining and vital. Raising a glass to you tonight. Also, exercise will keep you young and fasting reverses aging. See David Sinclair on the Rogan podcast. Yes. And that's my New Year's resolution, like everybody's, but I mean it is to try and get several hours of gym time in per week. I'm gonna transition, but not in that way. Transition from my preferred exercise of running, which I really do love to do, but I don't have time for it, and also my body hurts. To gym time. 40 is the time to start that, I think. Grand Kai 9 says, happy birthday. How much to have you on retainer for an emergency lawyer in Minnesota? It would cost a lot because and this sounds terrible, but I do very, very well on YouTube, and doing legal work takes away from that, and it divides my attention between the two. So the amount I would have to make on retainer would have to be significant enough to forego YouTube income. But tell you what, if you get into trouble, my number is public. You can call me, and I can either help you or direct you to help. Abe Eckstein says, ethics of the fathers, a 40-year-old is to understanding. Or a 40-year-old is too understanding. Congrats on becoming a wise man. Many, many more. Thank you, Abe. Watch Captain Alain of the Death Watch says, God Emperor's blessings to you, brother. I'd have donated earlier were it not for the designs of the Great Devourer. Working on some more minis. Soon as they're presentable, I'll post on Locals. Happy birthday, Nick. Hey, thanks, buddy. I'm looking forward to it. I got to do some mini painting. Zodiac says, happy birthday. Ever try Highland Park single malt scotch? Recommend 18-year. Yes, 18 and 30. I've had both. Both are excellent. I couldn't compare the two because I had them like a year apart, but both were very good. Hell Warden What says, if you're tasting alcohol, you're drinking wrong. Drink from the front of your mouth. It's a mechanical process. It takes a few weeks to learn properly. Once you do, you can drink anything straight, even Everclear. Yeah. General Isimo says, happy birthday. I'm 42 and my memory is fine. Aging doesn't mean old. Don't worry about memory. Mine is fine. Plus, chicks dig gray hair. Anyway, happy birthday, Rick. Don't worry. I'm 43 and my memory is fine. End of message. Chris Foster says, hey, Nick, happy birthday. Would you join me and raise a glass to my grandma Helen, who passed this morning? She was 94 years old and still smart, witty, and funny like she always was. Peace. Yes, I have a little bit left of this that I will raise a glass to Helen, the grandmother of Chris Foster, a spry, wiry, and witty woman up till the very, very end. May we all have the good fortune of our faculties as we progress into our sunset years and even pass on from them to Helen. Peace to you and your family. Cheers. Andrew Callahan says, happy birthday again. I always assumed you were early 40s. Oh, good news is that in my eyes, you haven't aged a day since I first started watching a couple years ago. You'll make an excellent old person. Cheers. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. And then finally, Tyler Wales says, all hail our brazen leader. Happy birthday, Nick. You make us proud. Glad to be here tonight celebrating with you and the chat. Okay. Let's see. Kyle Kareth. Where is this video? Everything Lubbock. Man, Everything Lubbock has released about 1 billion videos on this thing. I just have to find the right one. Here we go. Wow. There's a Chad Reed lawsuit press conference that has the full thing, but we're going to focus on this one bit of this. So this is the lawyer for let's see who this is. It's the lawyer for the widow, I think. This is not a long video. It's only 1 minute, 48 seconds long. But now here we go. We got a Lone Star song, right? Or it's a Lone Star, I think. Yeah. It was also done by, was it done by those other Rascal Flatts? By the way, Rascal Flatts live is terrible. That guy sucks live. Or no, it wasn't Lone Star, was it? Who originally did that song? Can't remember. All right, so here's the lawyer for Chad Reed's widow, I think. And he's going to talk about this, the Chad Reed, Kyle Karras shooting of Chad Reed. Do you guys hopefully remember this thing? No one cares. Look, Cloud Duel, I'm entering my Biden years. I get to wander through whatever the crap I want tonight for one time. So this is the Port shooting. Do we need a refresher on the Port shooting? Actually, maybe that's important to do. Look at this guy. He's like asleep here. Let's do a quick refresher on the Port shooting. Because I do think it's really important to do that, or to know what we're talking about here. So again, we do tackle very tough subjects here involving sometimes death, right? That's just how it goes. And this is one of those subjects where we will watch a man be shot and killed. That will happen on this video. So here's a side-by-side video of this. This is not. Never mind. This is the wrong one. Hold on. God dang it. Here we go. Yeah. Come on. Load it up. Here we go. This is just one angle, just a refresher on what was happening in this case. I was using a Twitter video, which I prefer to these YouTube videos, but here we go.
And speculation from all over West Texas. But Wednesday, Chad Reed's widow, Jennifer Reed, and Kyle Carruth's...
Are you going to talk through this whole thing?
And everybody else in the court. I'm subpoenaing your mom. I'm subpoenaing Anne Marie. This is on video. I'm very glad. I am. Leave. Do it right now. You better use it, mother. God damn it, I'll take it from you.
Call the police. Call 911. Call 911. Call 911. Call 911.
Okay, so they don't actually show the shooting here. But you get the idea, right? You get the idea, I think. So that's the basic gist of that. That's the basic gist of that. But there's been a statement, this is a couple days ago, by one of the attorneys that is, the guy who shot Chad Reed, the shooter, is being sued by the wife, or by the ex-wife of Chad Reed, and also by the mother of Chad Reed in separate lawsuits. Okay. Now here's his statement about this. This statement kills me. Only sued, WTF. Look, to get a criminal charge against him, it has to go to a grand jury, and the grand jury has to bring the criminal charge. So it's not that he won't be criminally charged. It's that there's a process behind it that takes time, and that process hasn't had time to work out yet. So here we go.
There's certain legal principles in criminal law. There's something called provoking the difficulty. You cannot interject violence into a situation and then claim self-defense.
That is an incomplete and incorrect statement of the law. I mean, frankly, that is it's an incomplete statement of the law, and it's an inappropriate application of the facts of this case to the law. But he said you cannot interject violence into a situation and then claim self-defense. There are many, many times where you can claim self-defense. There are just limits to how the claim of self-defense works if you are the initial aggressor. And so the way he has worded this is very much incomplete. But let's go next. Widow, not ex-wife. Sorry, widow, not ex-wife.
It's not the way it works. You cannot provoke violence and then claim self-defense.
Again, you can. There are just certain conditions that you must meet if you provoke violence.
You cannot assault someone and then when they react, claim self-defense.
Now here we have an issue, right? Because there is an issue as to who assaults who in this case. I'm pretty sure the initial assault comes from Chad Reed. I do not. You may disagree with Kyle Carruth grabbing the gun all day long, and God bless you. You can disagree with that. I'm not gonna tell you. I wish he wouldn't have grabbed the gun personally. But that being said, he did grab the gun from his house, on his property, on his porch. And before anybody in the chat says it, no, Chad Reed did not have some right to be on Kyle Kara's property. No, the court order did not say that that was where he would pick up the kid. In fact, that was not where the child pickup was supposed to happen. That is where he went when the child pickup did not occur. So to be very clear on that. But that being said, the initial assault, I think objectively comes from Chad Reed advancing on Kyle Kareth and getting right up in his face, threatening to take the gun and use it on Kyle Kareth. That is assault under Texas law, under basically any analysis that's even close to honest. So it gets muddy then. Did he provoke the difficulty? Did he provoke the attack? Provoking and an assault are two different things. Next.
Shooting a weapon in the direction of an individual is an assault. You cannot assault someone and then turn around and claim self-defense.
You can if the assault is justified. And justification nullifies the assault. Okay, so anyway, very, very short video, but this is what's going on out there. There's a misrepresentation of law and fact, and it's coming directly from one of the attorneys involved. I think it's the attorney for the, I don't know. I guess I just don't know which one that is, but, and this is the danger of this type of stuff. You have an attorney out there misrepresenting not only what the law is, but what happened. In the interest of his client. That's why he's presumably doing it. But whatever your opinion on that case, the ultimate outcome is that it's a tragic outcome. A tragic outcome where someone died. Everybody in this case should be alive and bitching at each other for tens of thousands of dollars in court right now. That's what should have happened. But what ended up happening instead is there's now a dead man and some kids without a dad. And that sucks. That sucks very, very much. All right. I'm getting this 20-year Mikters out. Is that civil or criminal? Civil, sure, go ahead and try. Criminal, they've no case. Yeah, it's civil. And they may have a civil case on him. They may. Although the other day we went through those civil cases and they're absurdly poorly worded. And drafted. It's they should maybe even be embarrassed. Embarrassed by what's going on with that, in my opinion. Very, 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 very much a failure of drafting. Let's see. I need to find the other thing here. Oh, I'm so happy, by the way. This is a side thing. You guys know who Rachel Dolezal is, right? Rachel Dolezal is the white lady who believes she's black. My favorite acceptable blackface woman. Yes, that's real. The queen, the slay queen of blackface. Now, I tried to find out. Apparently, there's a review of her OnlyFans that's out there. Although I will say the review of her OnlyFans was, I believe there was only one post at the time. The review of her OnlyFans suggested that it was only it was not sexually related content at all. But there was only one post. There's only one post. Now, here's a cool thing about OnlyFans is they just lock all the content so you can't see it. However, you can see what content sort of exists. Right? Here we go. She now has 147 posts. You could subscribe for $6 a month. Let's see. Here's what she says. Just to save everyone some message time, here are the answers to the 3 most frequently asked questions from this week. Do you sell custom pics? Yes, on Saturdays. Will you do explicit content? No. Will you rate my penis? No. It is no secret that some people provide explicit content on their OnlyFans, and there are others who do not. This platform does not require or prohibit any set style of content, so every creator gets to customize what they want to share. I've always been clear on what type of content I'll be posting. Hope that my posts inspire hungers for learning and creating and encourage all my followers to be true to their own spirit. So now all we have to go off other than that is her captions. Sparkly red for the holidays. Don't know what that means. Treat the feet that will stand to cook the holiday meal. These warm towels feel so good. So she's got feet pics. She's got feet pics, sparkly red. Who wants my OnlyFans hat? Anyone else tried the apple spice lemonade at Salad and a Go? I don't know what that is. Loving these leggings from Bombshell Sportswear. So anyway, I mean, you know, it's not explicit content, allegedly so. I think it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. Never underestimate the allure of the boudoir imagery, right? As just never underestimate it. It's got a compelling hold. Okay. Now I've got this 2019 Mikter's 20-year rye, and I'm going to pour some of this into this glass. And again, I'll save a little bit for Lady Rackets. Saved about a half ounce. One and a half for me, 1/2 for her. So this is the one that's $5,500 a bottle, apparently, which is an unfathomable amount of money to spend on liquor, but to be fair, I have never, to be very clear, I have never purchased a $5,500 bottle of liquid at all. The closest I come, well, actually, my allergy medicine might come out to that much in a comparable volume. But this was a gift. This 2-ounce sample was a gift. Very similar. Really, really similar to the Booker's. This one tastes a little bit lighter and sweeter. Of course, it's slightly less alcohol, but again, very, very an interactive whiskey is how I'll describe it. Everywhere it touches in your mouth, tingles and pops. It's great. Gosh, it's really good. Again, I don't know if I could ever justify spending that much money on liquor that I would drink, but Whew, that's good stuff. All right, let me find this. Here is. I don't want this here. So we'll briefly talk about this with this thing with my friend Vic Mignogna. The New York Dad, you don't need to spam that, buddy. You could just tell me. It's as if I don't know. You don't need to spam it though. Thank you. My friend Vic Mignogna is a voice actor, an anime voice actor, a weeb voice actor. He is also the creator, producer, director, whatever, of writer, I believe, of a show called Star Trek Continues. Star Trek Continues was a fan project to bridge the gap between the end of Star Trek, the original series, and bring it to the first Star Trek movie starring William Shatner. Because there's a significant gap in time, in our time, between the making of that first movie and the end of the original series. So, with that, he created Star Trek Continues, and they wrote some episodes, and they recreated the set of the the ship, the Starship Enterprise. They recreated the set. You can go see it. It's in Kingsland, Georgia. The tours, I believe, are free, and you can just go. It's a labor of love that they keep up, and it's this brilliant thing. You can and you can listen to, if you go at the right time, when Vic is doing the tour, you can listen to him talk about how meticulously they went to match the actual sets, the actual set, to get the fabrics made to match the fabrics that they were, when the original series came out, it's in the 60s. And so those fabrics, they probably just got from some discount store, thought they looked cool or whatever, but matching them, in the 2000s was a considerable labor. You had to get these things custom made. They didn't sell the junk anymore. And so he'll tell you about how the sets were made, how they did it, how they recreated it. And it's a really, really cool experience. But that being said, Star Trek Continues as a labor of love. It was a crowdfunded project. It raised a significant amount of money, and it allowed them to put on this production. It was ultimately halted by, I think, NBC Universal or whoever owns Star Trek. I don't remember what station it was. It was NBC, ABC, CBS, whatever it was. But they stopped the production of the show. They allowed them to wrap up an episode or two, but they stopped. And it was largely in relation to this co-production called Axanar. Axanar was a similar fan project that was related, that was Star Trek adjacent. CBS, Paramount. Okay, thank you. Axanar was in the Star Trek universe, and they did a crowdfunding, raised over $1 million. And then the guy who Alec Peters, who, by the way, seems to me to be a colossal piece of shit. But that's neither here nor there. Alec Peters crowdfunded a bunch of money and then just wasted it. Basically, he didn't actually produce the show that they said they were going to produce. He was jet setting to different conventions. He was pumping money into all this promotion and stuff like that, instead of actually just making the show. And when that happened, whoever owned, there's some bad press around that. And so then all fan productions across the board got shut down as a result of this Axanar production. And so the Star Trek Continues team was able to finish out, I think they got like 11 episodes or something. I think it was supposed to be 13, but they got 11. I don't remember. Someone else can do it. It's a very popular fan series. It's free to watch. It's on YouTube. It's not monetized, I don't believe, in any way. It was literally just, here's this thing. We're going to make this thing because we love Star Trek. And so they got voice actors and everything to try and be real actors. Some of them do better than others, but they recreated the Star Trek original series, and they had lots of actual cameos and stuff from people in the original series. It was this great fan production that was made, and a lot of people really like it. So a couple years ago, Vic was Me Too'd. Long story short, Vic was Me Too'd. Now, you can go look into the Me Too allegations yourself. I'll tell you roughly what the overwhelming majority were, and I've summarized this the other day, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. But long story short, the overwhelming majority of accusations are that he hugged fans who were visiting him at conventions. And no, I'm not exaggerating. And yes, people are treating that as if it is a severe infraction, as if that alone is sufficient to cancel people. That when someone would wait in line for maybe an hour or 2 hours, come up to Vic, he would give him a hug. Or in some instance, he would kiss someone on the forehead or the cheek. And you'll always see that framed as kissing on the face, but a peck on the cheek or a peck on the forehead, something like that, just to say thank you or I appreciate you. And people have determined that is sufficient to end a 20-year career. That alone merits the removal from someone's job, from their productive labor, from their networks, from their friends, all of it gone like that. It took 20 years to build the career in voice acting that Vic had done, and it took less than a month to completely remove it. Now, I will not misrepresent things. There are some more severe claims, and I will go through them very, very quickly. One more severe claim is that Vic Mignogna had been text messaging and visiting with a coworker at Funimation Studios when he lived in California, and the Funimation Studios was in Flower Mound, Texas, and he would travel in there sometimes to do stuff in person. And there was a female coworker, and he had a friendly relationship with her. And there was some text messages exchanged. There was dinner and all sorts of stuff multiple times. And then in one instance, he went into her office visiting, saying hi. And he said, "Can I kiss you?" And she said, "Close the door." And he kissed her, and that was it. And then that was the end of the encounter. That was later claimed to be, and when I say later, I mean a period of several years later, claimed to be an unwanted kiss. Now, you will have to make up your own minds to that, because the only stories I have about that are from Vic and from the allegation. This person has not made that claim, by the way. The person who was kissed has not come out and made that claim. That claim was made by a third party speaking, not with their permission or anything, but just speaking about the incident, that it was an unwanted kiss. So again, you make up your minds. All of this is publicly reviewable. I've done tons of videos on it, but that is one of the other allegations. The next allegation comes from a woman named Jamie Markey. Jamie Markey and Vic had a friendly working relationship for several years, and you can read her affidavit about this. But one time when he comes into Funimation Studios, she says, "Hey, hon," and he's like, "Hey, girl," and they walk up to each other, and she gives him a hug, because they, frequently, this community of people frequently hugged and were very friendly. And then she claims that he reached his hand up to the back of her head, grabbed the roots of her hair, and dragged her head to his chest and whispered something sexual into her ear. She couldn't remember what sexual thing he whispered into her ear, but he whispered something sexual into her ear. Now, this was allegedly done in the lobby of Funimation. No one noticed. No one saw. No one reported this. This, again, came out years later that this had even happened. Now, what Vic has said that happened was that he was probably, as she was a hairstylist, complimenting what she did with her hair and maybe bouncing. And you'll see this GIF because he talked about it in deposition. You'll see this GIF online as proof that he did what she claims. But he says, I was bouncing her hair saying, oh, I love what you did with it. That's what his side of the story is. Again, you have to make up your own mind on who you believe on these issues, but those are the two sides to that story. Now, the final and perhaps most serious allegation against Vic is by his longtime friend, Monica Rial. Monica Rial is the voice of Bulma in the most recent Dragon Ball stuff, fourth Bulma, many people call her. She's also several other voices that I don't know and don't really care to get into, but she has a really high-pitched, squeaky, prepubescent style sound to her. And if you're into that sort of thing, a lot of weirdos simp for her until they see her. But that being said, Monica Rial is the other accuser, and what she accuses him of. And it's hard to kind of discern because her story on this under oath has changed several times. It was written one way on Twitter. It was written a different way in response to an interrogatory that was sent to her. And it was then recounted a different way at deposition. But the basic gist of this is that I think it was called IzumiCon or something like that, run by a man named Stan Dolan back in 2007. At the hotel, one of the nights after the convention, they were to go to dinner as a group of, I think on Sunday, as the convention ended, all the guests were going to dinner for one last sort of hurrah at the end of the show. Maybe it was Saturday. I don't know. You could look it up. Doesn't matter to me for the gist or for the meat of the accusation. But they were going to dinner, and Vic invited Monica to his room to see a production that he had done called Fantasy something. The interesting part about this production, of course, is that Monica Rial was in the production. She's in it. But he invites her to a room, allegedly, to see the production. So they get to the room to see the production, and then she alleges that he grabbed her, that he threw her onto the bed, that he mounted up on top of her. They're all both in clothes, and was kissing her aggressively until there was a knock at the door, and the hero, Full Metal Fantasy, thank you. There was a hero by the name of Stan Dolan, the owner of the convention and the convention runner, who knocked on the door, and Vic answered the door, and she said that Stan Dolan noticed her apprehension, and then they went to dinner. Vic's side of the story is considerably different, as you would imagine. He said that everything that they did in that hotel room was completely consensual. That's what happened, and that they went and had a very pleasant dinner, and all of that. So again, you have to make up your own mind. Importantly, no woman has yet accused Vic of having sex with them, or even attempting sexual intercourse. Seriously, the accusations involve a forced kiss. That is the worst of the worst. Accusations are a forced kiss. So with that being said, y'all can listen to the depositions of Vic Mignogna and Monica Rial on this channel. I have their depositions that were done as part of this lawsuit, and you can listen, decide who's telling the truth in the story for yourselves. You don't need me. I mean, you're going to get my commentary over the depositions, of course, but you can ignore that if you want. And I would encourage you to look into it. It's a very fascinating story. Vic ended up suing Monica, Jamie Markey, Funimation, and Monica's weirdo, Ron Toye, her weirdo cuck pet. And he has lost that lawsuit. It is on appeal. We're waiting for the response on the appeal. Amelie's Human says, you forgot the part where he forced her to talk to his fiance after she chose to go back to his room after dinner. Yeah, so I haven't added all of the context. The really important thing was from 2007, when this event allegedly took place between Monica and Vic, Monica would be working, hanging out with, smiling, hugging, laughing, kissing on the cheek, being friendly with Vic from 2007 through all of 2018. And only at the very end of 2018, beginning of 2019, would that suddenly change. Basically inexplicably. But from 2007 to 2018, this person who she claims assaulted her sufficient to paralyze her, made her unable to do anything, so thoroughly traumatized that she couldn't even move. She would hang out and be friends with him at every show where they were at. They would sit next to each other. They would ride in cars together. They would have dinner together. They would hang out and talk after shows with each other. They were friends. And when this stuff started happening, here's how much he considered Monica a friend. When the initial things started coming out against Vic, when the initial Twitter movement happened, before Monica had said anything, he called her first for advice and counsel. That's the level of friendship we're talking about. That's who he reached out to. People are saying all this crazy stuff about me. So again, if you believe Monica, you can believe Monica all you want. That is your prerogative. I won't stop you. I don't know. I only have my two versions of the story that I've heard. You can check them out on your own. You can verify. If I left something out, I apologize. I've told these stories a million times. And so I don't know. I know what the story is, and I try and formulate the closest approximation to what the story is from each perspective when I tell it again. But you can believe whoever you want in this. I'm not here to change your mind on that. But I do find it interesting that someone so thoroughly traumatized you as to paralyze you that you would then hang out with that person for a decade and be friends with them. But that's me. To me, that's weird. Oh, I should also mention that the hero, Stan Dolan, who I've met and is a wonderful gentleman, by the way. Stan, what's up if you're watching? Stan Dolan denies any memory of any of this. You see, when she initially told her story, she told it talking about what Stan Dolan saw and believed from the event. And then Stan came out and said, hey, why didn't you contact me and ask me about this? I don't remember this. And then Stan provided a written affidavit that he doesn't remember any of that, that none of that is in his memory. And that if that were in his memory, or if that were something that he witnessed, he would remember it, that is something that he would remember. So again, take the stories as you will. Oh, I did leave out one more thing. I apologize. Monica Rial made a complaint to Sony, the parent company of Funimation at the time, still is now, but at the time she made the complaint, Sony was the parent company. She made a complaint about Vic involving some incidents of inappropriate conduct. And the alleged assault, right, with the forced kiss, she didn't bother to tell Sony that. She didn't tell Sony that. Instead, she told Sony about the kiss of the other woman at Funimation Studios. And she told Sony about her encounter with Vic, where they were sitting next to each other at a convention. And they were doing signings, tables next to each other. And Monica had jelly beans or whatever. And Vic asked for a jelly bean. And she took the jelly bean. She signed it with her pen or initialed it or something and threw it to him. And he grabbed it and just popped it in his mouth and ate it. And someone said, aren't you worried about the ink or whatever, poison from the Sharpie? And he said, well, no, because now I can say I ate Monica Rial. That's what she reported to Sony. A boomer dad joke that she says was sexual. He didn't say eat out Monica Rial, by the way. He did not say lick them lips or whatever. He just said ate Monica Rial. So that's what happened. And in front of hundreds of people who would be lined up to see that. Everybody laughs. Monica laughs. Vic laughs. It's all good. That's what she reported to Sony when she was answering human resources about the alleged danger of Vic Mignogna. She neglected to tell them the story of the purported sexual assault, where he forcefully kissed her, holding her down on a bed, according to her. That just, I guess it just slipped her mind when that happens. When that happened. Don't know why that would have slipped someone's mind. But again, make up your own mind. Sorry, I'm trying not to editorialize too much, but that's what's going on. If you're not familiar with this, that's the issue here. Well, getting back onto the subject, oh my God, I have dilly-dallied this whole stream. This is great. Some members of the former cast of Star Trek Continues have now, almost 3 years after the incident involving Vic, have come out with a letter. Now, if you remember, I talked the other day about this this lady, I think Amy Imhoff. Wait a minute, hold on. Here we go. So the other day, Vic was scheduled to appear at Los Angeles Comic-Con. He was not a guest at the convention, never represented himself as a guest at the convention. Instead, he was a guest of a booth at the convention. Now, a fat, sad lady complained about this because that's what fat, sad ladies sometimes do. Her name is Amy Imhoff. She complained about the fact that Vic was sneaking into a convention, it's weird to sneak into a convention by making a public announcement that you'll be at a convention at a particular booth. Oh, and for all the dumb fuckery going on out there where some very lovely, I'm sure, hideous cat lady made this claim that that would be a violation of the contract of LA Comic-Con, saying that without actually producing the contract from LA Comic-Con, but much less the contract that, without even providing a general one, much less the one that was actually signed by the vendor. But LA Comic-Con had another voice actor do an appearance in the same way Vic was going to do at that show, in the exact same way. So the idea that this is a breach of contract, automatically a breach of contract, and that they had no choice but to enforce their contract, which, by the way, if you've looked into conventions and how they do their contracts and run their shows, their contracts are typically laughably bad and barely enforceable and almost never enforced in general, because the amount of money in question is lower than the amount of cost it would take to litigate this stuff. You typically need almost a class action from vendors against a particular convention to make the litigation worthwhile, because you're talking about contracts of $1,000 to $5,000 for a table. You're not even getting in the door of a civil lawsuit for $5,000. So what are you gonna win? Are you going to recoup your cost of engaging in litigation? Most of the time you won't. And so that's why you'll have voice actors who are going to a convention cancel at the last minute. Say, oh, I'm taking some principled stand against whatever, even though they're contractually obligated to, and why the conventions don't go after them. There's no purpose in this. There's not enough money involved. But that being said, not to mention the absolute poorly worded nature of their contract. I review, not LA Comic-Con specifically. I haven't reviewed theirs, but I have reviewed some other ones, and they're basically like LegalZoom contracts. They're often embarrassingly and woefully inadequate for what they're trying to do. But that said, what do I know? Just a lawyer who can read contracts. This lady got mad that Vic was going to appear at this convention at a vendor's booth, and then raised a hissy fit about it. Okay. And then shockingly, once Vic was canceled, just a shocker, right? The community of people who like Vic responded and said, "Hey, that was a real piece of shit thing to do, you piece of shit." It's almost like people don't like having their they don't like having people they want to go see canceled, especially when they pay like hundreds of dollars for the tickets, maybe buy a plane ticket, book a hotel, whatever they're going to do. And then the person they're going to see gets just unceremoniously removed by the convention the day before or the day of. Because this person decided to whine about it. Writer and digital content manager for hire, feminist troublemaker, sci-fi expert, oh, I'm sure, Scully and Janeway effects at work, intersectional, BLM, she, her. And if that profile doesn't tell you everything you need to know about this person, then they didn't adequately write their profile, and that's their fault. But anyway, many thanks to the Star Trek Continues team. Interesting people missing from that team. That is now officially, again, none of these people actually speak for Star Trek Continues, so it's not actually official. But these people don't know any sort of definitions at all. Spoken out to condemn harassment and doxing. This statement comes directly after my extremely negative experience with this person's fan base. The more voices, the better. Love to my Star Trek family. Hey, fuck you. Fuck you, Amy. There you go. And first of all, to be very clear, I never did any of this, said any of this, never told people to do any of this. I barely even talked about this. So this isn't directed in any way at me. But fuck you, you pile of garbage. I'm so tired of these people. So tired of these people. Of just absolute NPC mode. And again, it's always about destroying someone else. Vic going to LA Comic-Con had nothing to do with this weirdo. Had nothing to do with him. First of all, I don't know if she even went. But second of all, even if she did, LA Comic-Con's a big place. She doesn't have to interact with Vic at all. Or that vendor. Or anybody else. But a whole lot of people wanted to. And the reason I know that is because every convention Vic goes to, he has a line hundreds of people deep. Every one of them. When he goes to random stores to do a signing, not at a convention, he has line hundreds of people long. People like him. They want to see him all over the country with frequency. So there's a whole bunch of people whose experience she ruined here, not just Vic's. Azurian says she didn't go. She was in Connecticut. There you go. So anyway, here's the letter, and this is one of the guys who signed it, John Champion. So I wanted to point out that they're all sharing this. All these weirdos are sharing this. Several years ago, we were recruited to work on the Trek Continues fan web series. For some, it was a one-off situation. For others, we wound up dedicating our time for a number of years. For all of us, it was a true labor of love. This particular project ended in 2017. It's not our identity. You're making it your identity now, though, because it's convenient. We've moved forward with our careers and lives. In many instances, because of Star Trek Continues, by the way. This is an opportunity for many of them. But while we'll always be proud of the work we help create, recent events have compelled us to clarify our positions regarding certain accusations against and the continued fan base unrest surrounding the series' executive producer and lead actor. All of us strongly and unequivocally condemn any harassment or inappropriate behavior, particularly directed against women, because apparently only women can be harassed, by the way. Notice how that always works? None of these people fucking care if men are harassed. By the way, Vic is harassed every single day by people like Amy Imhoff. Do you think Vic talks to Amy Imhoff? Think Vic even knows who she is? No. Nope. But she knows who he is. And she wanted that power. That power makes the body get a little warmed up. Which occurred either outside the confines of the production or within it. nebulous. See, and this is how you do it, right? This is expertly done. You weave in a narrative without facts. You weave in a narrative without story. This is what happened to Vic, by the way. This is how he got canceled. Because the moment that the stories started coming out, people like me, other people are out there going, wait a minute, this story doesn't make sense. Can you clarify this? And they can't. Can you provide one of the things, for example, that Monica Rial claimed was that Vic brought her out to the balcony of his room at a ZumiCon. Well, people went and looked up the hotel that they were staying at. There weren't balconies. There weren't at the hotel. There weren't balconies. So that's a weird detail, right? Oh, I was out on the balcony of the room. Well, there wasn't a balcony though. And that Stan Dolan problem. Stan saw me and he noticed. I didn't see any of that. When people started, when they tell a specific story, people get to ask questions about it. This is how court works, right? That's why you have cross-examination. When their stories were questioned, they break down. They don't make sense. There's details that they suddenly can't recall. Jamie Markey, he whispered something sexual in my ear. You remember everything about this encounter, this traumatic experience you're saying now, even though you wouldn't talk about it for 5 years or 7 years or whatever, and you act like you acted like friends the rest of the time. But this allegedly traumatic experience, and you remember every single detail except what was said to you. Why? Something sexual. What? What'd he say? How do we know it was sexual? But if they say what he said, you might say that's not sexual. Like the jelly bean joke, right? Said that was a sexual harassment joke. But that doesn't sound like a sexual harassment joke. Sounds like he consumed you. He ate you like a jelly bean that he ate. That went into his stomach. Wasn't that I licked Monica Rial, I ate out Monica Rial, I stuffed the taco of Monica Rial. None of that happened. That wasn't said. What he said was I ate. That was a sexual joke. But that doesn't sound like a sexual joke. Can you clarify that for me? No, you can't? Oh, weird. Now I don't believe you, maybe. And here's what it does. Some harassment or inappropriate behavior, either outside or within the production. There's no allegations of inappropriate behavior or harassment within the production of Star Trek Continues in any public record anywhere. Now, there may be an allegation somewhere. No one has made it. But look what they did. They just slide that in there, right? They just sexually harassed that into the letter. And now people are thinking, oh, there's more. He was assaulting people within Star Trek Continues. Oh, my God. Let people's minds do the work for your failed narrative. Such conduct is wholly contrary to our values and should never be tolerated under any circumstances. What conduct? Such conduct. Any harassment or inappropriate behavior. And again, notice there's no story to it, but it's linked here by this executive producer and lead actor. But there's no details. What conduct? Although we only learned of such allegations long after our associations as coworkers ended, and the series' cast and crew members had gone their separate ways, so they don't have firsthand knowledge of any particular allegation or any particular event. They learned of them later. Oh, okay. We recognize that we have an ethical responsibility to use our voices, platforms, and privilege to support those whose experiences were distressing, upsetting, or traumatic. Look, did you notice? There's no one listed. There's no story listed. There's no alleged victim. It's just a general statement of support to somebody. But it's in the context of vilifying someone else. But if there's a villain, there's a victim. So who's the victim? Where's the victim? What story is the victim telling? Furthermore, we denounce the actions of members of the public who attack, harass, and even dox those who've had the courage to tell their stories, as well as those who've expressed support for them. Funny, the people telling their stories and supporting them are also harassing and doxing, and even doxing. Yes. Yes, they are. All the time. And they delight in it. They revel in it. Finally, we sympathize with those who've been afraid to come forward and will respect the confidence of anyone who may choose to only speak up privately. There's no doubt in our minds as to the veracity of your account. No doubt. They're accepting uncritically any allegation by the fact that the allegation is made. And that should tell you everything you need to know about these people. We hear you and we believe you. Why? Always ask yourself, why do you believe someone? Remember, the allegations against another person are they're career-ending allegations in this context. In the context of Me Too, they may involve jail time, potentially. In this case, they won't, because guess what? No one, not a single person ever, anywhere, ever has even made a complaint to a law enforcement officer ever against this guy. Not one complaint ever to an authority. Why? Why is that? But that being said, these people, we hear you, we believe you. Doesn't matter. They'll never ask a question. This is someone who hired them. This is someone who was their friend, their coworker, someone who supported and boosted them, someone they maintained contact with for years. And they will uncritically accept an allegation without evidence, no questions asked. Imagine someone comes up to you, your friend for like a decade-long friendship. And they say, oh, by the way, you know about that guy? You know what he did, right? He did this and this and this. And you go, yes, he did, and I don't support him anymore. You don't have a follow-up. You don't have like, when? What? Who? Who did he do it to? Where? Was I there that day? Do I know this person? Was he there that day? Not a single question asked. They just will take it. We believe you. We believe you. The list below is in no way comprehensive. All individuals involved with our production are welcome to add their names and repost. If anyone needs an ear, we'll continue to list. The list below is not comprehensive, implying that there are more people who agree with this that just haven't gotten around to signing it yet. Sincerely, and it has the names down here. This is the type of nonsense that needs to stop. This needs to stop. This is the harassment. There's no allegation in that entire letter. The entire allegation is done through implication. They let you create the scenario. They let you determine what bad, inappropriate behavior happened. They let you create a victim in your mind. And then they let you project that out into the world, because to give you a fact would allow you to test the fact. And that is how the Me Too movement has worked. It's how it is propagated and succeeded. It is how cancel culture always works. Just make the allegation that something inappropriate happened and let people's minds figure out what that inappropriate thing was. And we need to stop letting it work. And I love that these people, I can't believe I was harassed. By the way, the harassment were people saying, prove it. Prove it. We don't believe you. Prove it. Amy Imhoff is not one of Vic's accusers. First of all, she's fat and ugly. So that wasn't going to work. Second of all, I don't know that they've ever even met. She's not one of Vic's accusers. What she did was she read something someone said online and uncritically accepted it as fact and then regurgitated it to LA Comic-Con as true and as meriting this person not having access to work, not being allowed to interact with their own fans. Vic's not asking to interact with other people's fans or other people at all. Believe me, he'd be way too busy with his own crew, with his own company. And she is determined that not only can he not work, not only can he not see general people, can't see the people who want to see him, who pay money to see him, can't see them, because she would be offended from 3,000 miles away in Connecticut. It's amazing. It's amazing that companies like LA Comic-Con do that they accept this. These people aren't going to your shows. All of these Comic-Cons, all of these anime conventions, comic conventions, sci-fi conventions, whatever, anytime anybody is threatened and canceled is nonsensical to me. You have some random person email you, say, I'm not going to your convention. Were you ever? How does a convention know? But for every one person, and this is true of everything, for every one person who says, and a brief anecdote, I've told it before, but there's so many new viewers. I was talking to a voice actor one time, and I won't disclose their identity. I was talking to a voice actor one time, and they were talking to me. This is during the height of the Vic stuff, and they said, "Man, some people are really pissed off at you." And I said, "Yeah." So, look, I've had people pissed off at me my entire life. Kind of an asshole. Always have been. Probably always will be. But guess what? I'm a lovable asshole. You know, I just don't take. I don't take shit from people, and I will tell them what I think. And that's been a true trait of me forever, to my own detriment, many, many times. Right? From pissing off people much bigger than me in high school. Through maybe not getting promotions that I probably could have gotten had I just shut my stupid mouth, to all sorts of things. I'll just tell you what I think. I don't have any reason not to. Not big particular fan of lying. So anyway, you know, I'm like, yeah. So what? Some people hate me because I'm a dick. Okay, got it. And they said, well, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with the fact that there's these people out here who don't like you? And I said, man, for every person that doesn't like me, there's at least 100 that do. And this is, let me contextualize the mind-blowing aspect of this. This is a voice actor in anime. It's the easiest love gig in the world, because half of your fans, pardon me, anime fans, when you're a voice actor in anime, half of your fans are autistic. The other half who aren't autistic are socially inept and incapable a huge majority of the time. They know this. It's not a surprise to them. It's not a criticism. That's why anime and anime conventions are so successful, because it allows them to shed all the pretext that they have to go through to make a connection with someone else, and they get to join in. Same with sci-fi, right? They get to join in on their shared like of this thing. I know that I like this thing, and you know that you like this thing, and we can bond over that immediately. We don't have to talk about jobs. We don't have to talk about this or whatever. That's why these things are such fun places for people to go. They get to short circuit all of the awkward parts of getting to know someone, and they know enough about someone to say, we can get along on this. And it's really a highly successful model because of that. So when I say this, voice actors, their interaction with their communities is easy mode. Because it's not them, right? It's the character. Oh, I'm Goku. By the way, if you ever meet or research the voice actor for Goku, the guy's a pile of shit. He is unlikable. He's uncharismatic. He's basically hideous to look at and to be around. He's not funny. He's not witty. He's just this weirdo. He's just this weirdo social reject. But I'm Goku, right? He's Goku. So nobody cares who he is because he's Goku. That's who they see. When they walk in, they don't see Sean Schemmel. They don't see this lovable little fucking moron. And Sean Schemmel is dumb as a pile of semen-soaked rocks, right? Like, why does this even exist? Why is this here? Soaking? Disgusting. Doesn't make sense. Why would anybody do this? That's who he is. I don't know what to tell you. Done extensive research on this topic. The guy's an idiot. People around him believe he's an idiot. His best friend, Chris Sabat, would play jokes on him because he's an idiot. Mean jokes, by the way. Very rude things. Gaslighting, making him feel crazy. All sorts of wacky pranks and endeavor. Because Sean Schemmel is stupid. They all know he's stupid. But when people show up, they're not looking at Sean Schemmel. First of all, no one wants to. Second of all, they're seeing the orange gi, the black hair, right? They see Goku. That's who they see. They don't see Sean Schemmel. They don't care about any of these people. They care about the characters. It's a short circuit. It's easy mode. So here I am talking to this person with hundreds of thousands of people who love the work that they do, regardless of who they are. They're like, how do you deal with negative comments? And I'm like, buddy, there's like 50 people who don't like me. I can manage that in an afternoon if I try. I mean, that's not hard at all. I got tens of thousands of people who support me and think, for whatever reason, I don't understand it, but they want to watch. And again, this is 250,000 subscribers ago or whatever. More than that, maybe. So anyway, it's this wild place. These people can't handle criticism. And the reason is, the reason I bring this up is that all of these conventions, they're listening to the 50. It doesn't make sense. They're listening to the 50. For me, let's put me in. They would take the word of the 50 people who don't like me over the 335,000 people who subscribe. That's the lunacy of the business decisions that these conventions are making. And that is fucking crazy. Ryan K says about 200,000 ago. No, this is long before I hit 100,000 subscribers. Long before that. That is a phenomenal whiskey. Man, that's good. Again, is it worth $5,500 a bottle? I don't think so. I don't think anything's worth that much. That is what I can say, though, is that is a terrific, terrific whiskey. Whew. Gosh, that's good. You got to get out the drops. Each drop is like $7. Anyway. Okay, we're not going to go into the critical case stuff tonight. Because we're already 2 hours and 40 minutes of my bumbling and rambling through stuff and ranting. So we're not going to get into the critical case stuff tonight, but I'm going to talk about it soon. Let's do this real quick. Let's do the order, because I think the order is important. How we got to the order is also important, but we'll cover that a different day, maybe a dedicated live stream to it, because this is a really important case for me, right? I'm a YouTuber. What I say can still be subject to a lawsuit. There's real questions about if a YouTuber can be successfully sued because no one manages to do it. But look at this. Look at this. And for what it's worth, Like, I don't want to be sued. I'm going to be most likely. If not at some other time, I'll most likely be sued when Vic Mignogna's appeal comes back, or and the case, if the case ends because the appeals comes back not in Vic's favor, or if the in the event that it comes back and then he wins, after that I'll probably be sued also. They may be beyond their statute of limitations, which would be fucking hilarious, by the way. But that being said, I don't know. But I will probably be sued as a result of the Vic Mignogna case. And the lawsuit will be televised to the extent I can make it happen. 100%. I have nothing to hide on this stuff and only gain from the lawsuit. So if they want to do that, have fun. I'm going to make it a pain in your fucking ass to sue me. And good luck. Good luck. But that being said, the biggest problem that these people have, and by the way, if you want to know why I have not been sued on this, think about everything I've said, everything, and the numerous threats from the parties involved. They're promising they're definitely going to sue me. Why haven't they done it? They have the lawyers. They have the income. According to Ron, he makes infinity. I make so much money. I'm a loan officer. Whatever. They have the income. They have the lawyers. Why haven't they sued me? I don't lie. The last person to call me a liar, by the way, is a fat fucking pile of trash named Ethan Ralph, whom I helped because he asked for help. I didn't disclose that I was helping him. I took a bunch of heat for not denouncing him and throwing him to the wolves. Could have done that. That would have been an easy task. A lot of people did that. Stuck by him through some pretty horrendous allegations because he asked. He asked me to help. So I'm a helper. I'm a giver. I help people. I'm a lawyer. I don't care what they've really done or whatever. Doesn't bother me. That's, their actions are between them. I don't know what anybody's done, by the way. I can only go off of stories that people tell me. That's how lawyering works. You know what your client tells you. You do whatever amount of due diligence that you can do to kind of verify the claim. But ultimately, your duty is to your client, not to what other people think. So despite all of the allegations, despite how easy it would have been to dogpile on this guy, throw him under the bus, I didn't do it. It took a lot of heat for a long period of time. And then after a year, he calls me a snake, says I betrayed him, and that I somehow threw him under the bus or whatever, because a year prior I had done an interview, and rather than telling the world that he had asked me for help because I thought that might be a little more damaging to his public perspective, I just kind of bounced and evaded the questioning as much as possible. And somehow that was the most damaging thing. This moron goes out and tells the fucking world that he asked me for help in this situation. What an idiot. But prior to that, mum's the word. Mum's the word on any of this stuff. He calls me a fucking liar. But then what does he say after that? I could probably sue him, but I'm not gonna, I don't want to waste my time. You know why you won't sue me? I don't lie. I have no reason to lie. There's a reason. For 2 years now, 2 straight years, almost 3, there's been a significant number of people that hate everything I say. They don't bring lawsuits. And these are people with lawyers, with the resources for lawyers, with the means and the motive to do it. And they don't do it. Why? Because they don't lie about it. May not like my opinion, but I don't lie. So if you want to sue me, if you end up suing me, whoever it may be, have fucking fun, because I will ruin you to the extent possible. That's I don't lie. And I have the receipts on the shit that I say. Shockingly. Anyway, little mini rant. Mini rant aside. Let's go with this. Here's the order. This is only 4 pages. It's not going to take long. So in this case, Ray Andracchio is suing Karen Yax for defamation and invasion of privacy. So Karen Yax is a former YouTuber called The Critical K, right? Ray Andracchio is a mental health provider. Plaintiff is a mental health provider in Lauderdale County, Mississippi. Defendant is a true crime internet broadcaster in Michigan. Oh, yeah. Vaunted member of the true crime community. In relevant part, the plaintiff alleges that the defendant defamed her in stating that the plaintiff, 1, committed bribery, and 2, contributed to a patient's suicide. So Karen Yax said that Ray Andriacchio committed bribery and contributed to a patient's suicide. Now before the court is this defendant's motion to dismiss for lack of personal jurisdiction. The matter is fully briefed and ready for adjudication. Sole question is whether the plaintiff has satisfied the familiar test for personal jurisdiction. Having reviewed the parties' arguments against the applicable law, the court finds the plaintiff can meet the applicable legal standard to establish personal jurisdiction. Now, I won't go through personal jurisdiction issues. We're going to skip this because that's not the only issue here, which is really, really weird. Here we go. This is where we're really going to get. The defendant presses several arguments for dismissal. She first contends that her Mississippi audience is likely minimal and the damages in Mississippi were likely not significant. Even so, at least one of the communications at issue seems intentionally directed towards the plaintiff herself. And because the plaintiff has alleged defamation per se, the question of limited or mitigated damages is ill-suited for adjudication on the pleadings. The defendant then argues that Michigan would be a more convenient forum in which to litigate. That is probably true for her. The legal standard regarding venue, though, applies a more robust multi-factor test, taking into consideration the burdens and benefits of venue to both parties, not just the movement. Fifth Circuit precedent then says that the plaintiff's choice of venue is entitled to a certain amount of deference. Reviewing these factors, the court is not persuaded that the defendant has met her burden to prove that Michigan is clearly more convenient forum than Mississippi. Lastly, the defendant argues that any resulting judgment from this court will not be enforceable in Michigan, which will leave the plaintiff without recourse. But that is a risk the plaintiff has elected to take in filing this suit here. She will continue to bear that risk. The defendant let's see. The defendant has presented other arguments regarding personal jurisdiction. Those not specifically addressed above would not have changed the outcome of this order. That said, the court emphasizes that the present legal standard requires all factual disputes to be resolved in the non-movement's favor. The defendant reserves her right to renew her motion with appropriate evidence at a later juncture. Motion is denied and all of the pending motions are terminated as moot. Within 10 days, the party shall contact the chambers of the magistrate judge scheduled telephonic case management conference. Carlton W. Reeves. So here you go. She tried to dismiss this case. It's defamation per se. These are the statements. She committed bribery and contributed to a patient's suicide as a mental health provider. These are both defamation per se. You can't impugn somebody's profession like this. And you can't say that they committed bribery because that would be a crime. And this is going to trial. Trial has been scheduled for December of 2022 because this is in federal court. So it will take forever. However, it is actually in some ways heartening to see the court applying reasonable defamation standards to someone talking on the internet. And I say this as an internet broadcaster because defamation is not actually free speech. Defamation is assault and battery through words. It is to damage the other person. That is the purpose of defamation, to damage the other person through an untruth, to cause them harm. And the harm that is able to be caused by words these days, especially untrue words, accepted uncritically, far surpasses what you can do to someone with a punch to the face. I mean, if you ask someone like Vic, would you rather be punched in the face or canceled from attending conventions and doing voice acting for the rest of your life? I mean, pretty much everybody's going to take the punch in the face. But that's where we are. So I'm actually heartened to see this. Again, as someone who doesn't defame people, now I may say things about people that are unpleasant, that they may not like, that they disagree with. That's fine. But as a speaker online, I'm actually hopeful to see this because, again, but by the way, I'm a free speech absolutist. And if it came down to it, if we would eliminate defamation as a cause of action, if we would eliminate any speech issues as cause of action, and therefore society was prepared to accept that speech needs to be taken at the risk of the listener, if we were there, I would fully support it. I'd fully support the fact that there would be no cause of action based on any speech under a First Amendment principle. We're not there. We're not even fucking close to that. But you allow the public to make their own decisions about what speech they hear, then we'll talk about that. But no one's there yet. No one is there at all. So until we get there, I am happy to see the law actually being enforced in this particular instance. So I find that interesting. We'll see. That's also in the Fifth Circuit, which is an interesting circuit in general. It's the Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, I think Oklahoma, Arkansas circuit. But yeah. So I am following that case. Full disclosure, I am an acquaintance with the attorney on that case. He's been on the show. His name is Matt Wilson. He is the guy suing Critical K. But I have no impact or influence on the outcome of that case. In fact, that document that I was just looking at was from November 19th. I don't get like updates on the thing. He didn't ask me to talk about this or anything like that. I just went and looked it up because I'm following the case myself. But yeah, so I'm interested to see how that develops. Take this to Odyssey and Rumble. Well, I'm on Odyssey, broadcasting on Odyssey right now. There's some Odyssey chats I'm about to read, actually. Where do we start here? Cool Frog says, pulled over almost every day for 3 months straight after having my vehicle searched each and every time I started leaving fast food wrappers on the floors. That cop finally started to leave me alone after digging through piles of garbage for no reason. Lamau, do not F with a felon 20 years ago. There you go. Monk says, please clip this rant about the state about 30 minutes in. It's great. Well, Ryan, if you're listening. Gas House Gorilla says, I'll donate to that rant. The state can get these nuts. Mofo Q says, happy birthday. Also, Madonna's uterus didn't drop out. It stayed in because of the plastic. Ooh. Gunnar says, happy birthday. Do you have air conditioning in the vault now? Can it be used for heating? I have air conditioning in the vault. I don't need it for heating. It may be a heat pump as well, but it's completely unnecessary to heat because the computer itself, 3 monitors, studio lights, camera, and I have an Xbox mini fridge, which is going to make it even hotter, plus printer. They're all generate ample heat. Plus I'm underground and there's no ventilation in this room. It's a vault after all. So the temperature is basically the underground temperature. If you left it completely alone with nothing in it, it'd be around 55, 60 degrees at all times. But yeah, the computer keeps it sufficiently heated. Engine Idiot says, happy birthday, Nick. Did you see the weather forecast for tonight? Central Minnesota is going to get some real shit. Century storm type shit, if I'm not mistaken. Stay warm. Oh, we'll be fine. I will be just fine. Malik Foxen says, happy birthday, Boomer. Enjoy the birthday, Dosh. I was wanting to get you a bottle of Lagavulin 12, or was it 16? But I ain't got the money this year. Don't. You don't need to do anything like that. Looking forward to the day I can drop that kind of Dosh and not even blink at it. Here's to another productive and entertaining year. And for you specifically, not for me, but I'm looking for the forward to the year where you can drop that kind of Dosh and not blink at it. And then I hope you still won't do it. You don't need to buy me anything. Thank you. Thank you. Kentucky Life says, hey, Nick, Woodford Reserve will be sending you some custom labels I made for you. Happy birthday. Oh, thank you. Wait, actual Woodford Reserve will be sending me labels? That's cool. Do you work there or something? I'm confused by that. Kentucky Life, I'm very, very confused by what's happening right now. I like Woodford a lot. I'm a big fan of their product. I think it's great. Oh, very cool, man. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. Next. We're going to get back to these YouTube super chats. And then we'll probably wrap up the show after that. Oh, no, I'm having a Biden moment. Where did I end? Let's see. Oh, I ended with this Tyler Wales chat. Okay, here we go. Blackwing02 says, happy birthday. And because it's your birthday, I blame you for this fantastic Minnesota weather. It was raining earlier. If it gets cold after rain, it sucks. No, you don't work there, but they will be sending them. Okay, cool. Thank you, Kentucky Life. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Abraham says, hey, Nick, happy birthday. If you're serious about gym time in the new year, look up Bowtie Docs on Twitter. He'll set you on the right path. No, I mean, I have plenty of, I have several friends who are personal trainers and stuff like that. It's all about me setting aside the time, setting aside an hour a day, 5 days a week, 4 days a week, whatever it is, to just get in the gym and get the shit done. MD says, cheers, brother. I'm sitting here with the same 2019 Mikter's 20 and Booker's, or M20 and Booker's ride, drinking with you, celebrating the end of my 38th and beginning of your 40th. Hope you enjoy. Oh, hey, that was you. That's you. Thank you. Thank you, MD. God, they're good. They're really, really good. Franco Miranda says, happy birthday, fellow Sagittarius mate. It would be a great birthday gift if a certain order/opinion from the Second Court of Appeals would be released on your day. That'll be tomorrow. Vic's appeal could come back tomorrow. We'll see. I just want it to be over. I actually don't, I want him to win, but I'm indifferent on the result at this point. As I've stated, from people misrepresent this about me too, but as I've stated from the very beginning of the appeals are most likely not going to win. The most likely outcome of an appeal is that you will stay, the order will remain. And so at this point, I just want it to be over for everybody to move on from it. I mean, I hope he wins because it'll be funny. But if he loses, it's fine. At least this lingering pall of the appeal is gone. Meshikari Russ says, happy birthday, Nick. Hey, thank you. Nathaniel Hyde says, happy birthday to myself. And here's to another year of havoc. Fred Rush MD says, happy birthday, buddy. From one birthday boy to another. Freddie, is it your birthday too? I think I knew that, but I don't Like, I don't remember anything. I'm looking for Freddie. Are you planning that Road Rage LA or Anaheim or whatever trip? I am planning on it. If he puts Road Rage on in California, I think in March, I'll be there. I hope to see you there, man. Mandy Karevicius says, what kind of nerd has their birthday in December? Jesus Christ, Nick. CBDX.com says, we love you. We also love getting stoned, which our products, THC not CBD, will let you do legally. And Nose at checkout is 20% off and a gift. All praise the Nose. Hey, CBDX.com. Thank you so much. I owe you guys an email. I really do. And I will send to you the very unfortunate thing that YouTube sent to me, which makes me the saddest boy possible. But I will send it to you so you know that I'm telling the truth with what I say. Arlania says, I know Ralph is fat, but is he really 50 people? Anyway, much love from down here in the Appalachians. Nick's Hex says, for a birthday present, I give to you a request to explain Gunt lore to the new audience. They deserve to know the meaning behind the more than a Nissan Sentra dig the other night. Nick's Hex, a different night we will do that. We will do that. He's got a trial coming up in January, which is very, very interesting to see what might happen from that trial. So maybe that would be a good time to really explain the lore of this person. Zachary B says, Earl Grey is a beast and so damn entertaining in the court. Cross is epic today. I took an unintentional nap during direct, but Cross woke me up and now I watched it twice. Again, thank you for this coverage and your time. It's my pleasure. I'm really enjoying the trial coverage. The only regret I have is that the trial coverage is extremely strenuous and draining on my family. So I have to take breaks between it. Again, the daytime show will continue. 1 o'clock, I believe, is the daytime show normally. And I will pick trials to cover consistently throughout the year. But like the Daybell Vallow trial, 10 weeks. I can't do 10 weeks straight of trial coverage. It's really hard on the family. I don't get to see my wife and kids as much during it. So I'll have to strategically pick trials to cover. And we will cover them, but there will also be breaks in between, which I think is fine, by the way. But I love doing this trial coverage. I think it's great. Hall Peril says, when does Chris Chan start? That's going to be good. It's January also. I don't know if it'll be televised, but I'm following along. If it's televised, I'll broadcast every second of it. Volan Duvall says, and you constantly cancel your base night shows? No, I do not constantly do it. I've canceled around one a week. And that was actually consistent with the cancellations that I've done prior. I know it sucks and I don't like to do it. Yesterday, I had company come over. That was, I told you, Andrew was here. I had family over the whole night as well. It just yesterday didn't work out because of that. But I'm most things I'm canceling is the Twitch shows, which sucks because that's my video game and movie time. Nance says, some people appreciate a little dickishness. A sense of reality goes a long way. Happy 40th, man. Hey, thank you. And then Trump Willis is my name, says, happy birthday, Nick. And can you please ask Andrew why the 5-second decision in Kim Potter's case is quicker to him than the Kyle case, and why Kyle had a guilty based on 2 seconds, but a not guilty for Kim's 5 seconds? Thanks. You touched on something that I've been thinking. Trump Willis, you touched on something that I've been thinking. There's some similarities in the timings of Kim Potter and Kyle Kareth. But I mean, there are differences too, even in the analysis. But I've been thinking that as well. And maybe, as we get through this trial, we'll be able to talk about it at some point. But Gundam Touch Me says, happy birthday. You are now a year closer to the forever box. Thanks for the entertainment. Helps me with my 12-hour night shifts. Sig Zeon. Goober Gabber says, condolences to you, old man. Here's to another year. Have you tried Highland Park Dragon Legend? Nope. Flavor caught me off guard at first, but the more I drank, the flavor changed and became more pleasant even. Ooh, thank you. That's unlike the White Walker Johnny Walker, which is the worst whiskey maybe ever. CC says, why don't you promote your Gab account? Also, happy birthday. Thanks for all the great content. I don't promote my Gab account because I don't post individual stuff over on Gab. I probably should, but right now I get the most interaction and have the highest following on Twitter. And posting other things on a separate platform, again, I know it doesn't seem like much, but it adds a level of time and attention that I don't have. So right now it's basically limited to show announcements, and I'm sorry for that with people, but like it is. I get so many notifications from every single platform, and every one I add is just a significantly more amount of work, and it's hard to do. At some point, maybe I'll get a social media manager who can help me manage that stuff, and then I could do stuff like that. I don't know. The idea of hiring someone for your social media makes me sick. Wolfgang Deo says, I don't know Harry Potter, but use gay, bro. Selrin says, Ravenclaws are the aloof intellectual types. I only know that because of a girl. This super chat is sent from my iPhone. Get grifted. No! Oh, man. What a ripoff. That was a $5 super chat. So on a $10 super chat, the creator gets $4.90, which means on a $5 super chat from an iPhone, from a $5 super chat, they get half that. It means I get $2.45 out of that $5. F. Wolfgang Deo says, happy birthday, Nick. Welcome to the late 30s. Jake Clark says, my birthday is Monday and we'll be celebrating by having a microfracture surgery on my knee. Drink plenty for me. Oh, dude, my heel hurts so much. It still hurts from my stupid antics earlier today. Olivia McClure says, never not simping for Nick. Happiest of birthdays. Say thank you, Olivia. Joel Reese says, happy birthday, Nick. Now for the toughest question ever asked you. Who would win in a singing contest? Lemoyne or Earl Grey? What would the song be? It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. C-San says, happy birthday. I'm sure this donation can get you a girl, male, prostitute in the Philippines. Oh, thank you. Called OL says, you share my birthday with my hero, my dad. Happy birthday, Larry. Everyone sing happy birthday to Larry. That's on you, chat. Happy birthday to Larry. Wolfgang Deo says, hey, Nick, any Vic news? Been a while since you spoke. Well, yeah, sure. Wolfgang Deo also says, Bridge learns you when you are old. No choice. Seal77 says, troll tubers. Austin Pissy says, new regular listener here, being a father of two in my late 20s with plans of law school after my undergrad. Great to see a guy who made it. HBD. I don't know what HBD stands for, but hey, thank you, Austin. Good luck, brother. You can do it. If you want to practice law, don't let anybody stop you. Don't let anybody stop you. It's going to be tough, but you can do it for sure. Sarah Marie, I did not miss your super chat. I'm getting to it. Lemoyne wins with My Heart Will Go On. You're here. There's nothing I fear. And I know that my lung will give out. Shileford says, according to a court in Seattle, doxing is First Amendment. Yeah, according to basically every court. Doxing, so long as it's not illegally procured information, is protected speech. Of course it is. Oh, HBD is happy birthday. Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. It's protected speech. Of course it is. It's publicly available information that you compile together. How can that possibly be unprotected? Now, people may not like it. Surely they don't like the idea that you collect this information, that you put it together, that you broadcast it to an audience. Right. I get it. I get that people don't like it. I don't do it. I don't release the personal information to people. One, it's against most platforms' terms of service. And two, if I did it, I do have a pretty big platform. And if I did that, it would be, it'd be a questionable idea of what I'm doing. But that being said, it is protected First Amendment speech. I just never want the appearance of me directing harassment towards anybody, because I don't want anybody harassed. I mostly want them ignored. A friend of mine was doxxed, threatened, harassed by a TikToker, and the court sided with the defendant and refused a restraining order. Yep. Stargate 404 says, what do you think of Games Workshop stock tanking? Go woke, go broke. Also got my last law school exam of the semester tomorrow. I am praying the curve is kind. Get it, Stargate. You can do it, brother. I know you'll be fine. Look, if their stock is tanking because of their stuff, hopefully it just turns them around. I mostly buy the books because I like the books. I like the craftsmanship of them. I'm way behind on the stories. Haven't read most of the stories that I even that I own, but I still buy the books just because the craft of it is happy, and I like the universe. But I really wish they would stop hating your fans. Stop hating your core. Jeremy Forsyth says, expert said, find him later. Arrest for warrant caused him to flee. It is not reasonable to assume he wouldn't flee again later under same circumstances. Correct. Schilfer says, happy level up day. Thank you. Stargate says, happy birthday. What kind of damages are we looking at for this kind of defamation? Maybe an IED or negligent infliction of emotional distress to include too. Kyan Rennell says, I need to crowdfund a jerk-off instruction video by Judge ASMR Mamrie. Okay. And to the jury, I'm going to ask you to slowly unbutton and unzip those pants. And this erection is sustained. Blue Patrician says, Prairie Oyster with the Bookers. Read that one. Stargate says 2.5K and 5.5K, almost the cost of a Warhammer army. Kella Vakuya says, happy birthday to my favorite drunken lawyer. Hey, thank you, Kella. Dave Fuller says, any plans to have Kyle Rittenhouse on the show? I've reached out. Listen, guys. I have reached out to Kyle Rittenhouse, his team, and told that my email would be passed along to them for review because he's got managers, right? They have not responded to me. I don't know if my email has been passed along. I have no way of knowing, but the person said they would pass it along. It's a person with the ability to pass it along. The other thing I've done is I tagged Kyle Rittenhouse's Twitter account on Twitter in response to one of his posts. Unfortunately, the amount of options I have outside of that is limited. I don't have alternate contacts. If he wants to come on this show, he is welcome. If his management will allow him to come on the show, he is welcome. If they have some conditions that they want to make clear because they have pending litigation or whatever, those are fine. I work within those things all the time. I'm never out to jeopardize a case against anybody. He would be welcome, and we could certainly work within any potential limitations that they would have. I can't do much else about that. I would love to have him on the show. I think it'd be a great show. I have a bunch of questions that I would love to ask him. And I think it would be a very different show than everybody else's show. Because it's me. I don't know. But that being said, I can't, one, I don't beg people for appearances. I don't go bother them for it. Two, I've gone the two channels that I have available to me at this point. If another channel opens up, I'll surely pursue it, but he seems to be very, very busy this day. So, and by the way, if I do an interview with Kyle It would almost, I would basically, it would be a solo interview. I would not be inviting the panel on. No disrespect or anything to the panel, but that is one I would handle just me and Kyle. That would be the idea. Because one, I just don't want the overwhelming, like this many people versus that one. I would do it one-on-one, and that was always the idea that I would have for that type of show. So in case anybody out there with any sort of ideas about what the show might be, who has connections to Kyle, is listening, that's the intention. One-on-one interview, genuine questions, and happy to work within any potential restrictions that they have. Happy to navigate those waters. Not a problem. Done it many times before. So, Christina says, it's my birthday too. Happy birthday. Hey, happy birthday to you, Christina. Wolfgang Deo says, just because it's perfect doesn't mean they go together. I'm sorry. Are you criticizing my cookies? Are you criticizing my cookies? Radio Ruin says, God told you and Bill Paxton to do something horrible? Doubt it. Look, I'm telling you, those Ritz and Reese's are delicious together. 2D Harem King Jack says, that's right. Penetrate that milk, Big Nicky. Stargate says, Perry Chan needs to clip this for your next appearance on Friday Night Tights. You need to share this with Az. Samuel Williams, the founding father, says, please explain Ritz invention in Kermit voice. Well, you see, there I was. I got one hand on my Ritz cracker, one hand on my Reese's peanut butter cup, and a third hand on my Willie, even though it's green. It wasn't mean, if you know what I mean. But that being said, I put the two together and found out I'm going to start blasting. Stargate says, wait, read that one. Jiffy, the Magic Elf, says that Wonder Witch's mukbang was almost too hot for YouTube. Ascot Man says, happy birthday, Nikki. You're now a full-fledged boomer, but seriously, congrats on making it to 40. Cheers, mate. C. Hennessy says, your take on F1 controversy on the bending of the rules. F1 controversy on the bending of the rules. I don't know what that is. I heard they were moving to 18-inch tires, but that's the last F1 news I saw. It's your boy Jake says, I love hearing you and Bronca swear. It's like hearing your favorite teacher curse for the first time. Iron Dog, welcome to paralegal status. The Condor says, do you go to mass? Why or why not? We attend mass from inside our home right now. Look, I work really, really late, and getting up and getting all of the kids awake and ready and dressed and everything was a huge stressor on our family. We attend online mass in our room together. Not mass, but we go to a church service. We don't attend a Catholic church. But we attend mass or service online in our home where we can spend time with our kids and not have the hassle of trying to get 5 children dressed and getting in a car and getting to the church. So that's what we do. Pete C says, happy birthday, youngin'. I hope it's a good one. Tracy 3 says, Ricada Lodge, you see the Binger interview on his lifelong BFF YouTube channel, The Card Closet, from earlier today. The guy has close to 400 subs. Binger's on camera too. What a treat. I did not know, but I'm going to look at it. Marcel DeFore says, I want to paint a new Space Marine chapter. I'm liking the Roman aesthetic, but not Smurf boys. Any suggestions? Thank you. The Emperor protects. You could do one of the Ultra Smurfs offsets, like one of the multicolored ones. I'm trying to think of some of their names. I don't know. I'm trying to think of their successor chapters. Fists of Calth, maybe something like that. If you're looking for the Roman aesthetic, you basically have to do Smurf boys. There's a bunch of successor chapters to the Ultramarines that you could do. I'm drawing a blank on what they are. Matt R says, no more singing, please. Look, I make no promises. What are you talking about? Snowboard Dan says, happy birthday. Thank you. Home B says, what is the law on selling your 2024 presidential vote? Don't do it. Automata says, shout out for Frailty. Really great horror movie. Sea of Love says, I don't even know what's going on right now. I've had the worst night ever as a hospice RN. I'm 2 glasses of wine down. Is just cause here. Oh, Sea of Love, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope we perked up your day a little bit. Ma N, thank you for the incredible sticker. Chris Friday says, I believe Kim knows the Wright brothers are criminals, with the remark to Johnson, it's the Wright brothers and not the ones that fly. Mark Sermon says, happy birthday. Also, government is slavery. CS Barra here said, thank you for the donation. Jack Sparrow says, when you were in law school, did you ever figure you would make a living by people paying to watch you drink and get marshmallow cookies in your beard? No, God. I thought I was going to suffer through running my own practice forever. Ooh, Breck says the Minotaurs chapter. Yeah. The Minotaurs chapter would be good. That'd be awesome. Garrison San asks if I have any plans to stream to Rumble. Can't watch Odyssey live on my Android TV device. Yes. Yes, I have to get it set up. Again, Rumble is another thing like Gab where it's cumbersome. The Odyssey streaming is really easy right now. The Rumble streaming is a little more attention intensive at the moment. And everything I add, like when I have the Odyssey stream and the YouTube chat, I have to check the chat here. I have to check the chat here. If I add the Rumble to it, I'll have to check the chat there. All of that makes my job significantly, each one makes my job significantly more difficult. But I am talking with Rumble about integrating streaming with them. But I have to get things set up. And again, I do 8 hours of broadcasting of Kim Potter, and then my brain is mush for the next couple hours. And then I do an 11 o'clock show. There's not a lot of time for phone calls and stuff like that. But I'm working on it. Wolfgang Deo says, not yet your birthday here, but happy birthday, Nick. Hey, thanks, buddy. Bad Dragonite says, Merry Birthmas. Galaxy Express Media says, happy birthday. I too turned 40 this year. Cheers, good sir. Cheers back to you. Emery Kalame says, happy B-Day. Here's your green Lincoln for you and YouTube Susan to split 70-30. Pixie Mrs. says, happy birthday and thanks for everything you do. Thank you. Tara Rayner says, deployed, same tactics with Chauvin. Happy 40th, old fart. Thank you, Tara. I appreciate that assessment of my age. Jay Griff says, now that you're officially ancient, are you going to ascend to the level of Turbo Boomer? Oh, God, I hope so. Ty, I'm coming for the crown. Ishailson says, happy birthday, Nick, and it's Thursday. Let's hope the appeals come so you can stop getting asked every week. Lol, and the laughs, of course. I agree. Jackson Kai says, just wanted to say happy birthday. My family has 4 birthdays this month, all 2 days apart. Grats on being the second youngest and my mom. Lol. Hey, thanks, Jackson. What happened 9 months ago? Your parents were pounding it out or whatever. Wolfgang Deo says, how is a lying expert on stand held to account? They probably won't be, honestly, held to account. You just have to shred their testimony in the best way possible. Earl did an okay cross exam. I thought Earl could have done better with that expert witness, frankly. Personally, I thought that I can be wrong on that assessment. I just felt that there was more for him to get out of that guy, but he may have just wanted him off the stand because he was evasive and annoying, and he showed the court that he was evasive and annoying, and that might've been enough. But to me, it seemed like there were some more things to get to and to hash out. But perjury in court is almost never charged. Almost never charged. MD says, sitting here with my M20 and Booker's Ride to toast the end of my 38th birthday and the beginning of your 40th. Cheers and hope you enjoy. I did very much. Thank you. Make-A-Wish says, poll, judge hair up or down. We'll do it. ASMR mommy, judge hair style. Up, Big Coom. Down, Big Coom. All right, guys, there you go. Now there's a poll. You guys can figure it out. W Colonial Boy says, cheers from Madison. I know, right? Andy Kirstig says, happy birthday, man. Keep up the great work. Been watching you since the Rittenhouse trial, and I've been hooked ever since. Thank you. Daniel Harp says, happy birthday, you red-blooded, freedom-loving American. I'm sipping on some Jeffersons because I take tips in whiskey my coworkers give me, lol. Hey, thanks, Daniel. Enjoy it, buddy. The gray one says, happy birthday, Nick. Had mine on Sunday. Went to a cheap casino, and if nothing else, had fun. Need a laugh after today. Worked massively. Sucked. Sorry, buddy. Hope we got some laughs out of you today. James Russell says, happy birthday, Boomer. It's my daughter's first birthday tomorrow. I'm excited for that. Oh, congratulations, brother. Look, there's magic years between like 1 and 3 where they're just 4, 5. I don't know. They're just funny. They're just funny. My 4-year-old just kills me every day. I laugh so much at my 4-year-old. She's a blast. Russ Key says, happy birthday. Thank you for all the lost planning and entertainment to many years to come. Hey, thank you. Hell Warden What says, I married an emotional abuser. Been together over 20 years. Shit won't keep me down. Rock on. Damn. Good luck with that, brother or sister. I don't know what you are. Phantom Boomer says, happy birthday, young feller. Thank you. Wolfgang says, Nick's nose gets to his birthday 1 hour before his face. That's from R. Suninv. Super chatting for the record because that was hilarious. Stargate 404 says, if you haven't been to Universal Studios Orlando, I have. My girlfriend and I went in October and loved it. Jurassic Park and Harry Potter areas put Galaxy's Edge to shame. I agree. Universal is a fantastic park. Phenomenal. Lots of fun. Kids loved it too. I like the Mummy ride. That was one of my favorites. That was good. And the Mummy's old as shit. Frozen Toy says, happy birthday, Nick. Don't feel bad. You're not that old. I turned the dreaded 50 on Saturday. Oh, congrats. And I lost all my hair at 19. You still have some of that left. A little bit. FM says, what happened with that sweater, Nick? Why? Happy birthday, I guess. I wanted to tell you that I have the coof, but wasn't going to die till I saw that sweater, man. Congrats on your recent success, by the way. Hey, thank you. Look, I just wanted a warm sweater for the day because I didn't want to wear a jacket. Thermacia says, remember, old man, Brie Larson is the poor man's Vito. Star Trek is the poor man's Star Wars. And who is Miles Morales? I have no idea. From what I heard, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Man, that made so many people mad. That was great. That was a great tweet. Stargate says, as a proud Ravenclaw here, wit beyond measure is man's greatest treasure. I'll raise a butter beer and a beer to you, sir. Hey, thank you, Stargate. He also says, why not just ask the court reporter to read back? We talked about this on the show. The court reporter would have had to go back a significant amount of court reporting to get back to that spot. It would have been cumbersome. And you don't want the jury, this sounds slimy, but it's true. You don't want the jury to actually review the real words. You want them to review their recollection and impression of the words. That's a better tactic. So you're not going to actually like get the guy on perjury or anything like that. It's just a better tactic to do what he did. Drag Attack says, Booker's and Knob Creek are amazing, smooth, tasty. Broly Power Maximum says, so the state pays people with tax dollars to come in and tell whatever narrative. Also, I'm 34. I'll never be old and 40 like you. Old fart. Happy birthday. Thank you. You're correct, Broly. You'll never be old like me. New dislike button says, what's a Menards? Me, frowns in Indiana. Happy birthday, by the way. You're officially 18 years older than me. My God. Sorry, Nick, but your time's almost up. No, I look, guys, today I'm going to be digging 3 feet down, 6 feet across, 4 feet wide, and 3 feet down. I'm half in. I'm gonna have to do all broadcasts from my yard, standing with 1 foot in that hole. Home B says constitutional republics fail because once those that created them die, no one is left to actually defend them. Wolfgang Deo says, if you came to reviewing $1,500 whiskey regularly, could the expenses become tax write-offs? Asking for a friend. They probably could. Yeah. Frankly, I'm sure I could. I basically only drink on this show. Outside of this show, and very specific events. Like if I go to a charity dinner or something, I'll grab a glass of whiskey or wine or whatever. But I basically only drink on the show. So therefore, all of the liquor that I buy is for the show. It certainly could be a tax write-off, but I don't track it. I probably should. I probably should do that, but I have not done so. Maybe when I do my taxes this year, I could probably look for the all of the charges to the specific liquor store and go after it, but who knows? Wolfgang Deo says, amusingly, I was respected within the military in my 20s until 26. The military doesn't count. They're barely people. Then at college going into 30, I kind of was respected there, but it was outside it. Lol. Home B says, when the whole world chases a corpse, good job, Jesus. Stargate says, just imagine the kid in this situation. Your mom's boyfriend shot your dad dead on the porch for trying to come pick you up. Yeah, that's the real tragedy, is those kids. Outlaw 2 says, favorite blackface is Martina Big and her husband. Sea of Love says, y'all, this is my escape. Love y'all from hospice, registered nurse. It's been a hell of a night. Happy to be here with you. Hey, thanks, Sea of Love. And hey, thanks for what you do. Being a hospice nurse is really hard. You get to know people, sort of, and then they die. And so I know that's a tough gig, but a lot of times the hospice nurse is the closest friend and confidant that a dying person has, because everybody that they used to love and hang out with is very uncomfortable by the fact that they're dying. So kudos to doing what you do. It is extremely important work, and it's very respectable. Zach Anderson says, happy birthday, Nick. Your late night streams are perfect for my COVID ruined sleep schedule. Oh, dude, it's rough. I was sleeping so much during COVID that there was no discernible schedule anymore. Get well, buddy. Walter Deadman says, does spending that much on liquor make you the liquor or its bitch? I don't know. I think the liquor. I think you've like, that's a spicy joke. Does buying people make you the people's bitch, or does it make you the slaver? Timothy Reaper says, RSVP, please, for the death of thee. You have little time. You're running out of life. Happy birthday. You're going to die. Thank you. Bloody Thumb says, my dad died 12/15/21 at 64 years old after a ridiculously long battle with liver cancer. Love your family and value the time you have left. It goes quick. No truer words, Bloody Thumbs. Again, I encourage people to overlook the faults of their family, too. There's a lot of that going around this charged political environment. Overlook their faults and their opinions, and just love them. It's better, even if they don't reciprocate, it's better for you. It really is. And that's who you need to be concerned with. Flatline 365 Rules says, I just spent my week on a jury for a DWI case over 0.15 in Texas. They made us choose the amount of time in jail and the fine. Is this normal? In Texas, it is. In Minnesota, it's not. Generalissimo says, wait, I want to help the spammer get good. Nick, I know it's impossible to not huff your own farts with that gigantic beak, but let's be honest, your Ritz Reese's make deep fried Oreos look like health food. Yeah, they're way better. Generalissimo says, my monitor had a heart attack just from showing your degenerate snack. If you had asked me prior to this whether there was anything more disgusting than a lawyer, I'd have called it impossible. Jesus. Oh, try it. Put those crackers inside those Reese's. Scrunch on those. I'm basically Amaranth now. P-Dog Knight says, is Amy Imhoff any relationship to Jack Mehoff? I have no idea. Maybe. Mandy Karavichus says, but Nick, this is in Drexel voice, but Nick, here's the thing. Ain't no actual bitches and hoes be watching Star Trek. Come on. Come on now. Wolfgang Deo says, can we report this conspiracy against Vic or to the FBI? I mean, you could. It just won't do anything. Ryan the editor says, any news on your other YouTube channels? Not yet. I have not filed the appeals on them yet. I'm waiting for full information on them, trying to get more clarification so I can properly appeal the information they've given me is woefully inadequate. Steven Simard says, you're 100% not wrong about the autist thing. I'm proud of being an autist. It's fun. Yes, autism is not an insult, by the way, unless it is. Usually you insult someone non-autistic by calling them autistic, but autistic people, it's not an insult, and in many ways can be a complete boon. So Stargate says, Ricada Law, master of civil procedure. Eric Weinberg says, Nick, happy 40th. Your star is brighter every day. Hope you have a fantastic, restful holiday and beat the brakes off of 2022. Wolfgang Deo says, Sue's Nick for the lulz. Pro se, gonna pro se. Brandon Duff says, hey, Nick, are you going to review the new Binger interview from the YouTube channel, The Card Closet? He would be in the fucking closet, wouldn't he? Wouldn't he? Maybe. I'll review it to myself and then see if we'll do a video review. Yash Ken says, happy 40th birthday, buddy, and to another 40 plus ahead. Hey, thanks, Yash. Thanks, Ken. Yash Ken. Thomas says, damn, I tuned out and now I have to rewatch the stream to know if Noseman read my first super chat. I think I did. Sarah Marie says, have you looked at the Kavanaugh versus Klein case? Please and thank you. Love your work. Happy birthday. I have not. I don't know what case that is at all. Michael Kennedy says, is familiar with the Christian Andrakio case. It's Ray's son. I'm from Lauderdale, Mississippi, friends of the family. Michael Kennedy, I am tangentially familiar with it. Just from following the defamation lawsuit mostly and some of the allegations around it. But yeah, I'm somewhat familiar with it. It's a scary sort of idea. 'Cause to me, there's more investigation that should have been done before that being ruled a suicide. Wolfgang Deo says, bro, just do 10 push-ups every now and then, fatty. Yes. Yes. Mephisto's movie review says, happy birthday, Nick. Sub since 2018. Glad to see you grow the last month. Well deserved. Shameless plug. I run a movie podcast called The Real McCoy, REEL, and would love to have you as a guest. Shameless Griff. Mephisto's movie reviews. I would love to be a guest on your show. Email me or DM me on Twitter or something. Let's work out a time. I'm happy to guest on shows. It's always about scheduling. So let's figure out a time and make it happen. Scheduling and subject. You've got subject. We just pick a movie and then let's schedule it. I love talking movies. One of my favorite things. Bogey 34 says, in the world of Gryffindors, be a Ravenclaw for real. Happy birthday. I now appreciate defense attorneys and the huge importance on our pretty damn good system. 200 Watt Studio says, will you catch up on this morning's super chats? Not tonight. Culve 2A wannabe Hunan Muhammad says, dang, I hadn't noticed it before, but it looks like a board was left laying on a lawn for too long. I'm referring to the top of your head. Happy birthday to Omo-chan. Oh, thank you, Culve. Aurelianus says, have you heard of Coach Red Pill starting Incel Project Mayhem in the Ukraine? Could he be extradited stateside considering most of his followers are U.S.? If he committed crimes, I think we have an extradition treaty with Ukraine. If he commits crimes, he could. I didn't realize that Coach Red Pill was still a real thing. Guy's a weirdo. But okay. Wolfgang Deo says, yes, critical Ritz and Reese's theory. Sue me. Sabby McSabswood says, would love to see a collab with Actual Justice Warrior. He was one of the first to cover the Kenosha footage. Happy birthday, old man. E. Malachi says, happy birthday, tuned out song molester. Oh, thank you. Thank you. How you doing, buddy? Anna Lingus says, when you getting Binger on the panel? Happy birthday. Voice of a Free America says, I've got something for you to say in Trump voice. I'll add it to you over the Mama Susan and YouTube censorship. Whew. Whew. What's going on? Who's reporting? Who's reporting who? What is happening? Something about reporting channels. I don't know what that is. Voice of a Free America says, here's an OnlyFans that will scar you. 4 fingers in the binger. Disgusting. Very atypical. OnlyFans. Look, I've looked at a lot of OnlyFans. I love OnlyFans. Wonderful company. Great people. Lots of very interesting photography going on. But 4 fingers in the binger, a little bit too far for me. Wolfgang Deo says, Pixlexia. Poorly Redacted says, Toto is such a famous band that a continent was named after one of their songs. Felzu says, please respond to Phase Connect and collab with Pippa. There's a misconception that has gone on, by the way. There's a misconception that has gone on with this Pippa issue. I mentioned Pippa on the stream. Pippa reached out to me and said that Phase Connect would be reaching out to me to talk to them. I did not ever get an email from them. I thought it would be coming by email. I did not get an email from them. I did get a Twitter DM from them the other day. However, if you're not following someone and they're on Twitter and they DM you, it goes into this separate requested area. And I frankly, look, my Twitter account grew by 55,000 followers over the Rittenhouse thing. And I have like 1,000 message requests. And if I don't get to yours, it's not personal. But I have like 1,000 message requests on Twitter, and I can't respond to all of them. The Phase Connect thing went in there and got immediately shoved down the list. So I didn't see it. I didn't know the name of her management company. So when I heard that she had said that the management company reached out and was waiting for me, I reached out to her right back and said, hey, I haven't seen an email or anything. Can you give me the @ of your management company? She did. And I went and I was able to find the DM at that point and have made contact. So now it's a matter of working things out. Happy to do so. But a lot of people thought that I was just being bad at getting back. I genuinely didn't see it until I heard that they had actually sent it. I was expecting an email. And when I searched my email, I checked it. I checked my email, try to check it daily, and had not seen anything come through. So that's what happened with that. And we're working on it. Happy to have Pip on the show. But also they have a management company and I have to work within that management company's issues. Carson Depp says 67th BD was Sunday. Oh, wow. I got to my son's house for dinner and was almost tackled by my 3 grandsons hugging and kissing me. Just wait till you're a grandpa. Grandpa life is great life, from what I can tell. SR says, I just started watching Star Trek Continues. Rip Grant Imahara, a fellow EE, lost too soon. Happy birthday, Nick. Rise Darth Jello says, Nick, happy birthday from a Litchfield native. Congratulations on the channel's success and thanks for the show. Hey, thanks, Darth Jello. How are things over in Litchfield? Bishop Craig says, brother's father-in-law facing attempted murder trial in January. Guy had to shoot his own son in self-defense. Elio refused to enter property, fearing his own safety. GoFundMe yeeted the campaign. Could use some eyes on this. Bishop Craig, that's a crazy story, man. Can you email me about it? Wolfgang says, I may be my grandma's favorite, though when she called me stupid for being unvaccinated, the last time I contacted her was via thank you letter for card. And finally, Pepsi Man says, Binger just did another interview today. Yes, I'll be listening to it and reviewing it. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I've got to go. It's late. I'll be setting up the link for the Kim Potter stream, which is going to start in 6 hours, roughly. So we'll see you guys then. Thanks for spending my turning of 40 with me. I really do have a fun time with you guys and really appreciate it. With that said, I'll see you soon. Peace. Peace.
Oh, he drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some lost-plaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes meta, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an odd bag of Balmore at Lafroig. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter, as we hear lost-plaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, the guests are all plentiful, from Dante to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter, as we hear lost-plaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what